that song?
You don't know that one?
No?
Ghost Town.
Ghost Town, that's it, yeah. Well, it was not exactly a ghost, but it's very, very strange, right? Now,
When did this happen?
Hey?
When did this happen?
This happened just Sunday.
All right.
Now, on Sunday, obviously, we're doing the warm-up show.
What were you doing out at 5:30 in the morning?
Well, I was driving up from the coast because I get up at 4:30.
Oh, I see. Well, hang on, it's only a couple of hours from there, isn't it?
It's about an hour and 10 minutes, that's all.
The show didn't start till 11.
No, but I need to get back to London to sort things out and, get my act into gear. Everything, everything that I do in life.
I find your life very bizarre.
No, not at all. I have to get into the swing of things very early on to keep ahead of the game.
I see.
There is so much going on, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it was a lovely morning.
It's getting darker in here, by the way.
No, it's getting darker in here.
Sure?
No.
Okay.
So it's a lovely morning. I'm driving up the A3.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. I was listening to Virgin, right, which is one of our sister stations.
Indeed it is.
Because, to be honest, I'd heard all the news overnight and I didn't want any more, so I was listening to Virgin.
All right.
The record that was playing was Billy Joel.
Right.
I
thought you told me they didn't play anything more than 5 years old.
Well, this was a Billy Joel record. I don't know how old Billy Joel is.
What sort of period?
It was Billy Joel from the 80s, really, because it wasn't Uptown Girl, but it was that other one.
Always a Woman to Me?
Sorry?
Always a Woman to Me?
No, it was the one about Leave Me Alone, I'm a Family Man or something. Or what's that?
Sure that's not Hall & Oates?
No, that's Hall & Oates, yeah. It was.
I can't believe you know that one. How do you know Hall & Oates? I don't know any music.
Hang on, was it Don't Go Changing My
try to please
Persuasion?
me. To try to please me.
That's it.
I love
that was
you
the
just
one.
the way you are.
I love you just the way you are.
Okay. That's from The Stranger, I think, isn't it?
Is it? Well, anyway, this is what's playing. Now then, you won't believe this. As I get to the part of the A3 which goes past Guildford, which is really...
I thought you said it was on a quiet country road.
No, it's on a quiet road. I didn't say it was a country road.
Right, okay.
Quiet road.
Right.
It's a double...
it's a dual
carriageway, so there's 2 lanes each way. And
Very fast road.
Yeah, but there is no other... Well, it's not, because it's down to 50 there.
Right.
Okay, and there's no other traffic around. So I'm complying with the speed limit, doing 47 miles an hour,
Amazing.
right? Yeah,
47?
absolutely. Yeah.
There's that number again.
And as I come round the bend, and I see... the cathedral up on the hill.
Because you've got dawn coming up, I suppose, haven't you?
Well, dawn was already up, actually, but it was a lovely morning.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's the ugliest cathedral in the world.
Do you think?
Oh, it's horrible. It's square, box-shaped. It's got no architectural merit.
Really?
I don't know who built it, but they built it for, nothing, and it's a hideous building,
Built it for nothing?
No, I know a lot about cathedrals,
Do you?
and that's hideous.
We should we agreed to do a quiz on Sunday, but I can't remember what it was on.
Yeah, I can.
What was it?
It was on the Great Lakes, but it's a stupid subject because it's too expansive. But anyway, so you won't believe what happens. All of a sudden... oh, excuse me.
You're right.
Excuse me.
So you're being struck down. It's just like the Omen.
Yeah.
If I take a picture of you with a big spear going down the back of your shoulder.
No, don't worry about that. Now then, my radio in my car is so sophisticated that twice an hour, whatever I'm listening to suddenly changes and I get traffic reports.
Don't go changing.
Yeah, that's right. I get traffic reports of the locality. Do you get that?
Well, you only get that if you've got the setting fixed so that you get traffic reports.
Well, I don't have a setting
yes,
that
you do.
I want to fix. Hang on.
You can take the setting off. So
all right, well, I don't have to do that, so it doesn't matter. But I mean...
Well, we can find somebody who can show you how to do it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So anyway, I'm quite used to whatever I'm listening to suddenly being interrupted by another voice.
Yeah. It was designed by Edward Mouth, by the way.
What, Guildford Cathedral? Yeah,
whoever he is.
Anyway, you won't believe what happens next.
I won't.
As I'm driving along, my radio, which is, highly sophisticated, very expensive radio, suddenly changes, and guess what comes on?
The traffic report.
No.
This
is the amazing thing.
Okay, what?
Abide with me.
Oh, yeah.
Fast falls the even song.
Are you sure that's the right words?
Abide with me, and so it goes on.
Right.
So I'm thinking.
So you tuned into some sort of Christian station.
Hang on. I'm thinking to myself, what's this? And it's so unusual. Where's this come from?
Right.
When the song was finished, and it goes on for about.
It's quite a long song.
About 90 seconds.
Okay.
Well, I must. I think I don't think it started the song. Came in the middle of it. All that. A voice then said, that was the choir of Guildford City Cathedral singing the Elgar song, Abide With Me.
Right.
and then it switched back to Billy Joel.
Really?
I mean, it was amazing.
Wow.
How come? I mean...
Have you got it set to a sort of change on the station?
No.
When you come into a particular locale or something like that?
No.
I mean, normally that would be the traffic, wouldn't it? Maybe there was a station that normally does traffic, but in fact there wasn't any.
How could it be? And how come, as I'm passing Guildford Cathedral, the choir of Guildford City Cathedral suddenly burst out of my radio and start singing Abide With Me?
I've no idea.
Which, by the way... is one of my favourite hymns. In fact, my favourite hymn. And what's more, when I last did my will, specified that I wanted that to be the opening song at my funeral.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is spooky.
Well, exactly.
You put me in it, by the way, your will.
I can't tell you anything about that because it's a confidential document.
It's not a confidential document.
It only becomes a public document upon my death, so you'll find out then.
That is spooky, though.
Do you not think that's weird?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it's the weirdest things that I've ever come across. And then for the rest of the journey, of course, my concentration on driving and the traffic had all gone. I thought, how did that happen?
Did it change again at any other point on the journey?
No.
So
I didn't get any traffic reports
really?
at all. I didn't get any traffic reports at all. I usually get traffic reports when I'm in central London because, you're competing with BBC London and all that kind of stuff. And all fine. And you just have to, press a button and they go away again.
Yeah.
But nothing happened on my journey home.
Yeah.
I was listening, happily to Billy Joel and a bit of sort of 80s and something like that. And then this suddenly came in.
Yeah.
The choir of Guildford City Cathedral as I was passing the cathedral and looking at it up on the hill.
Could it have been like Radio 4 or 3 or something like that?
No, it couldn't have been. You don't get any music on Radio 4 or Radio 3 or anything.
You sometimes get like the odd religious programme, don't you?
No.
On Sunday morning.
It was absolutely amazing. I've no idea why it happened and I can't figure it out. And it would be no good me looking at my radio to sort of work out, I wonder what frequency I was on and all that. Because you see, my radio just has a list of stations. It doesn't actually have, medium wave, long wave,
accidentally
FM.
Hit like some kind of search thing.
No.
Because you know how your car, as you say, very sophisticated.
Yeah.
I mean, you could touch something on the steering wheel and it could suddenly search for the next station.
Well, why would it then come back to the original station and start playing Billy Joel again?
You may have done some kind of. I mean, it may have some kind of setting which just lets you sample something for 90
honestly,
seconds.
it was the strangest thing.
Yeah.
It really was. And I've been
how about this? Hey,
puzzling about it ever since.
Glenn,
yeah.
How weird that you mentioned the Omen while talking about Guildford Cathedral as it was in the film.
What was?
Guildford Cathedral.
No.
Yeah, it was.
It couldn't be. The Omen was filmed in America, wasn't it?
No, the Omen was filmed in London.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, he was the American ambassador to London.
Oh, that's right. Of course he was.
I've just been past the Guildford thing that was on Radio 3 on Sunday morning.
Right, yeah.
So that may have been somehow. You must have somehow got Radio 3 on.
No. I didn't. It wasn't Radio.
No, I mean, how could you not know about
Radio
the
3?
Omen? The Omen, right, is about Gregory Peck, who is the American ambassador to London.
Oh, okay.
Because remember when the woman hangs herself out the window? That's in their house in St John's Wood.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You've never seen The Omen?
I'm confusing it with the one where the girl's head turns round all the way.
That's The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, that's right.
Yeah, that was in Washington, D.C.
That was in Washington, D.C., that's right. Yeah.
All these devils look alike.
My God, was that... And Guildford Cathedral was in The Omen.
Isn't that weird? That's even more spooky.
Good God.
Am I on Songs of Praise, says Thomas.
There's something going on here.
There is.
There is.
Well, maybe it's something to do with... it's the summer solstice today, which we haven't mentioned either.
Summer solstice,
because it's Druids Day down at Stonehenge.
No, you won't believe this, right?
June the 21st.
You won't believe this.
Yeah.
I was reading a report today about the summer solstice, and apparently it's going to be a magnificent solstice because there's a strawberry moon tonight.
That's right, strawberry moon, yeah.
Right, so strawberry
what
moon.
is that exactly?
Well, the moon goes like a pink colour.
Yeah, because it's different from... because we've already had... We've had the red moon, haven't we?
We have, and the blue moon.
And we've had the blue moon. So now we've got strawberry moon.
Strawberry moon.
When I was growing up, we just had the moon.
Yeah.
Now we've got about 8 different moons.
But anyway, you won't believe this again. This is such a coincidence.
Now, you think you're becoming more spiritually aware?
Well, I don't know, I'm reading a report in an influential newspaper today. I think it was the Times or something like that. Okay, and they're talking about this being the most unusual longest day ever, and it will attract even more hippies to Stonehenge because they go there for the summer solstice.
There now, I think.
That's right, but because of the strawberry moon.
Yeah.
And they showed a picture of a load of people there last year, and right at the front was a filthy old beggar, right? No, I'm not joking.
How do you know he was a beggar?
Well, I'm about to tell you. A filthy old beggar who looks exactly like a bloke who calls himself the Wizard, right?
Yeah.
Who trails around towns in Surrey. I'm not joking.
The Wizard.
Yeah, the Wizard. Yeah, he calls himself the Wizard.
Right.
He carries a crook.
Right.
I am your shepherd and all that.
Right. Does he wear sort of swaddling clothes?
He wears purple cloaks.
Right.
He wears purple cloaks.
Oh, I think I've seen pictures of this bloke.
Yeah, he wears purple cloaks.
Yeah.
He doesn't wear any socks. He wears sandals. His feet are always filthy.
Yeah.
He smells of urine most of the time, right? 'Cause that's why he's a filthy old beggar.
Too much information.
Yeah. He walks around with this cloak and all that. And this is the best thing. And he charges people £2 to take a picture of him. That's how he makes his money. Seriously. And I could swear when I saw this picture, and he's got this white beard. I mean, unfortunately, in some ways, he looks a bit like me, but it's not me, if you see what I mean. And I saw him. I thought, I know who that is. That's the Wizard.
Yeah.
And this Wizard guy.
Is it not possible that he bears a striking resemblance to a druid?
Maybe I don't know, but I could have sworn that's him. He wears a little skull cap and all this kind of stuff, and he's always floating around outside. Oh, whenever I've been in Epsom, I've seen him there, I've seen in Ashted and places like that. He's always floating around railway stations. I don't know
why would anyone pay him money to have a picture taken?
Because they think he's a personality, a local personality. You know what happened to him once? You won't believe this.
Right.
He was prosecuted ridiculously by the police for carrying a knife.
Was he?
But the knife was like on a belt.
Right.
And he said it was
like a ceremonial
dagger.
Exactly.
It was like his ski and do over
right.
Is that was it?
Ski and do? Yeah.
So
they give it in a sock normally.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He says to me ceremonial knife. Anyway, ridiculously, somebody prosecuted him in court, and it was his 5 minutes of fame. The law.
Free the Wizard won.
Yeah, free the Wizard won. It was my knife is bigger than my religion. And all this kind of stuff. And they dismissed the case as ramblings of a man who leads alternative lifestyle and that kind of stuff. But very odd. Yeah. Very odd indeed.
Very, very strange.
Yeah.
This is from Joshua. He says, I have a 2002 Honda and my radio changes over to traffic channels too. I can assure you it isn't a £34,000 radio.
Yeah.
# not the only one.
Yeah, I know, but why would it suddenly change to...
Well, you must have done something.
I didn't do anything.
You must have just somehow flicked the scan button.
I didn't. I promise you. I would know if I had done.
All right.
Because I'd never got it back to normal.
This is a great one here from Bob.
Yeah.
I don't think Stephen King's got much to worry about.
What's he mean by that?
Plague. Well, he means your story's crap.
Well, no,
basically,
my story's
it's
true.
Not exactly Christine, the car that drives itself and kills people. Is it?
Well, hang on, mate. It's absolutely 100% bona fide. And I mean, consider there were no other, bona fide.
Bona fide.
That means
ID. It's an E. It's not A. It's not Fider. That's a dog.
Bona fide, yeah.
Bona fide.
Yeah. But anyway, what I'm saying is, think about it. A lonely road, nobody there early in the morning, Guildford Cathedral, starred in The Omen. I'm suddenly getting music blasted out from Guildford Cathedral through my radio.
Right.
Abide With Me, the song I've put in my will to be played at my funeral.
Yeah.
It's very, very weird.
I think what you should do is replicate the journey next Sunday and see if it happens again.
Well, I might not be around at that time next Sunday, to be able to do it.
Make yourself available.
Well, I don't know.
How about this from Roy? He says, the Strawberry Moon's obviously appearing because Porky finally bought MG a bottle of pink champagne.
Well, there you go.
# now that really is weird.
There you go. See, people remember these sort of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, coming up, we're going to talk to a nutritionist, and you'll be able to get some information out of Jill Trigg, because she's going to tell us all about why... It sounds like you know her.
No, it's just an unusual name. Very nice name.
You like it?
Yes.
Okay. Ever been out with anyone called Jill?
Let me think. No, I haven't. No.
I have.
No.
Sugar. Oh, honey, you are my candy girl, and you got me wanting you, honey.
We're going to talk to our favourite nutritionist, Ms. Jill Trigg, because Philadelphia, believe it or not, has become the first place in America, first city, to actually work out that they want to bring in what they call a soda tax. So it's going to be a tax on sugary drinks to try and stop people becoming obese, or at least stop them from becoming even more obese. Jill, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very well
indeed.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, I understand that they've tried to introduce this in quite a few other parts of the states, but somehow they haven't been allowed to, or it's been voted down. Why is Philadelphia different?
Well, I think that it's being voted down in so many other places just because the sugar companies and the beverage companies just have so much money, and they can spend this money on advertising against passing the laws. So I feel like Philadelphia has taken a big step here, and I'm really happy to see that this law was passed.
And what does it actually mean in terms of the pricing? Say, for example, if you were going to go and buy, I don't know, in a fast food joint, you know, a big litre sort of bag, a bottle of Diet Coke, how much is the price going to go up?
So the price is supposed to go up about 1.5 cents per ounce. So they're saying if you buy a 16-ounce bottle, like a 6-pack of them, it would be about $1.44 extra of tax. So it's not a crazy amount. I think that people are over-exaggerating how much extra money they're going to be spending.
Right.
It's really not that much, but it is a little bit more. They would normally be spending.
OK, now, Jill, we've got some information here looking at where this has been tried before. We are told, and you might be able to correct me, that over 30 cities or states in recent years have tried this tax, have tried this plan.
Well, I just asked you about that.
Yeah, to help the to help the health of youngsters. If it's failing and not working, does that mean America is getting more and more obese and it's on an unstoppable decline?
I mean, I don't think it's unstoppable, and I think that the reason it hasn't worked in so many places is because it's just being opposed by, these big companies and by store owners. You know, for example, some stores are making about 25% of their profit from soft drinks and pop. So they're going to oppose the laws coming in because they're afraid that customers are no longer going to be buying these beverages, so they're going to lose money. Also, the beverage companies are pushing it as if it's like a grocery tax. So if you look online and you look at the people who are opposing the tax, they don't say it's a soft drink sugar tax. They say, a grocery tax. So people are thinking, oh my gosh, they're taxing my food.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a really negative thing. You don't need pop to live.
Yeah, but the point is,
So,
Jill, isn't this the nanny state, as we call it in Europe? You know, why are politicians and who are influenced by people like yourself telling the population what they can consume, what they can't consume? Surely, if a mother sees her child getting fatter and fatter and fatter, then it's her responsibility to regulate that child's diet, which includes cutting down on the number of cans of soda and Coca-Cola and 7-Up she allows the child to drink.
Totally. I mean, I fully agree, but obviously that's not happening. You can look at Mexico. Mexico actually implemented a tax, and they saw a 12% decline in consumption of soft drinks over a year, and they actually did see obesity rates go down. So whether or not those two were correlated, there was no, proof that that's what helped. But you that probably did help.
I'm always slightly dubious when people say, obesity rates went down, because I mean that is that's a very fast kind of reaction, isn't it? Because you have to say,
sure.
I mean, if you go into any fast food outlet in any part of the world,
particularly America, but
also here as well.
Well,
I mean, whenever anybody, everybody's standing there ordering stuff. I mean, it's go large for slightly less money here, and I mean, just because the drink is going to cost a bit more, it's not going to make much difference to everything else they're consuming, is it?
No, I mean, I don't think it will. I understand where they're coming from. And the idea behind this particular tax is what the mayor is saying is it's to raise money for pre-K programs.
Right.
So the money is supposed to go directly to those pre-K programs, and that's why they're taxing the soft drinks. Now, the problem I see with that is if they're trying to reduce the amount of soft drinks that are being consumed, then the tax would naturally become less and less every year, the amount that they're collecting from that tax.
Yeah.
So if he was really trying to fund these pre-K programs, would he not be trying to find a more consistent tax to be putting towards this program, right? So,
well, exactly. I mean, they're talking.
I don't really think that that's what he's doing. But,
I mean, they're talking about raising $90 million, I think, over the course of a year in revenue from this tax. So, I mean, if they'll become addicted to the sugar tax, if you like, rather than people being addicted to the sugar, because they won't be able to do without it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, I think that there is a bit of a good idea behind it. If you look at smoking, a lot of people know that smoking is bad for them. And I know for me, a bunch of my friends quit not because it was bad for them, but because it's such an expensive habit.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they're trying to make drinking sugary beverages so expensive that people just stop doing it.
Yeah. Well, Jill,
except that, I mean, there's not much evidence that younger people have not taken up smoking in as many numbers, even though it is expensive.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but the problem is America now is institutionalised fat, if you see what I mean. You know, you're such a wealthy country, people just eat as much as they want to stuff inside their bodies. Now, when you talk about trying to deter people by punitive financial measures, putting a tax on it, doesn't it work anyway in America? Because by and large, in this country, we have a National Health Service. In your country, people have medical insurance. Surely medical insurers will up the cost of their programmes to their consumers massively if they think people are eating themselves and drinking themselves to death.
Well, I mean, I personally don't agree with the tax. I do see where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But I do think that people need to be responsible for themselves. And, you know, what they're seeing in Philadelphia is people are just going to drive out of the town and they're going to drink the sugary beverages anyway.
So they're actually going to spend more money to go and buy it somewhere where they don't have to pay the actual tax. How do they work out as well, if you don't mind me asking, Jill, what the, where the soda tax begins, if you like? I mean, what's the measurement of how much sugar or whatever is in the drink?
You mean what, like which beverages they're going to?
Yeah, I mean, how, for example, if you've got, I don't know, something which has got no added sugar in it at all, or no sugar in it, but it's got, some kind of, sugar substitute in it, does that suffer from the tax as well?
Yeah, so they actually are going to tax diet beverages as well. So that includes aspartame sweetened beverages. What I don't know is, are they going to tax like juices? Because a lot of juices on the market are actually just as bad as pop. They've been boiled down into a sugar solution and then they've had flavorings added back to them. It's basically the same as pop. So are they going to be taxing these as well? I'm not sure.
And they rot your teeth as well, don't they?
They for sure do. And a lot of parents are giving their kids juice thinking that they're making a good choice, and they aren't. So maybe there needs to be just education there rather than punishing people and making them spend a lot of money. So
because that is the end result of all of this, isn't it? As Mike says, if either the insurance companies don't start to control what people consume, it's a very difficult. It's a very difficult, particularly in America, where it's meant to be the land of the free and the home of the brave and all that.
That's right, yeah.
And it sounds like something that the British government would bring in rather than an American one.
Yeah, I mean. I actually was quite surprised to see the article and everything, but I'm not really sure what the real solution is, but I don't think that this is the solution to obesity.
No.
I see a lot of clients all the time. I work with a lot of clients from the U.S. I am Canadian, but I work with a lot of international clients. And a lot of them really just don't know what they should be eating. So there needs to be education in place to help these people out.
Yeah, but, to be perfectly honest, Jill, if you don't mind me saying this, Mike and I have both lived in America for a good part of our working lives in New York and Washington and whatever. I mean, excess is institutionalised in America, and I think you've got as much chance of turning that back as you have of reforming your gun laws, which is another institutional part of American life. And whilst I admire the work you do as a nutritionist, it's very, very important to have rules about how human beings live without killing themselves. You really are fighting a losing battle, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people that I work with are not actually obese. I don't work with very few obese people. A lot of them are athletes looking to improve their performance through natural supplements and eating well. A lot of them have lifelong diseases that they've been dealing with. So I don't deal with a huge amount of obese people, but I deal with some of them. And it is a losing battle for a lot of people.
It is.
It
is. I totally agree. And it must cost the state, billions and billions of pounds in terms of medical care.
The other criticism of it is it's a tax on poorer people, generally speaking, isn't it? Because they tend to be the people that drink more of this stuff.
Oh, yeah, it for sure is. I mean, that is the issue with Philadelphia, is that there is a lot of low-income people living there. There are a lot of people on welfare. and they are the ones who are drinking the majority of the sugary beverages. And that's not just like my opinion. That is what data is saying. That is there are articles and things to back that up. So it is taxing people that are already struggling and people that are probably trying to get their kids into these pre-K programs. So, I mean, I think they are taxing the wrong group of people.
Yeah,
but
I totally agree.
I think you're absolutely right. As long as they don't start taxing Philly cheesesteaks, I'll be fine with that.
Exactly.
But Jill, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Jill. I tell you what I would like to do, actually, as a challenge, and we can do it very soon, and we can video it, right?
Yeah.
The new adult toy, which is selling in its thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, is the hula hoop.
The hula hoop?
The hula hoop.
Is it?
Now, did you do the hula hoop when you were a kid?
No, I absolutely did not.
Oh, I did.
Why?
I love the hula hoop. I was
You
so
had
good
a
at
hula hoop?
Eh?
I thought it was a girl's toy.
No, it's not. Everybody's...
No, it's a girl's toy.
Nah, rubbish. The only reason you don't want to do it is because you probably wouldn't get one around your fat belly.
I've often asked you for your waist measurement, which you continually don't forget to give me.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it is. I don't measure it that often.
Really?
But, so you don't fancy that at all, then?
What, a hula hoop?
Yeah.
No, of course not. I mean, it was kind of a decade before I was born, was it, the hula hoop? It was
well, I don't know. It was, I tell you who started it, Chubby Checker. What was it?
Chubby Checker?
Chubby Checker, yeah, did a song.
I interviewed Chubby Checker once.
No, you couldn't have done.
I did.
He died about 1962.
No, I interviewed Chubby Checker. No, I did. I interviewed him when I was in New York.
What did you interview him about?
I can't remember. It was something to do with, it might have been in Woodstock or something like that. It was something or other that he'd done in the past.
Let's twist again. That's what he did.
Again, yeah.
Let's
Chubby
twist
Checker.
again.
Yeah.
Like we did last summer.
That's right.
Let's twist
But
again.
he didn't have a hula hoop, though.
Like we did last year. Yeah, well, he was the inventor of the hula hoop.
No, he did not have a hula hoop.
Okay. Now, listen, I want to show you this picture, right? What?
I did one of yours, actually, because I did an interview him on the phone. And he rang me up.
Yes.
When they sometimes do that. And they
sure.
say, he's going to ring you. And so he rang me, and he said, hi, Mike Graham, it's Chubby Checker here. And I called him, I said, oh, hello, Mr. Checker. I called him Mr. Checker.
Yeah, that's right.
Ridiculous thing to say.
Well, I suppose, what else would you call him?
He's still alive, by the way.
Sorry?
You've killed him off and he's still alive.
Oh, he's still alive, Chubby Checker. God, he must be a real ripe old age.
Yeah, he's 74.
74.
Yeah.
So
that's another musical star that you've killed off.
Funny enough,
along with Mike Oldfield.
I sent a sort of young reporter, who's doing a few shifts in Fleet Street, along to do a piece. It was like he was opening a supermarket.
Yeah, that's what he looks like.
How old is he?
He's 74. That's about 10 years ago, though.
Yeah, well, exactly. I thought it'd be... he's 64 there. I thought it'd be much older than that. No, I sent this kid along to... Leslie, what's his name? He used to play Dirty Den in in EastEnders.
In EastEnders, yeah, I remember
What's his name? Leslie...
I can't remember.
Something, but anyway, he turned out to have rather a bizarre sort of personal life or whatever, Sometimes they do.
Well, he got caught out, didn't he?
He got caught out, I'm afraid, yeah.
In the days before people did that sort of thing.
But in those days...
Leslie Grantham.
Leslie Grantham, that's him. He was Britain's biggest TV star, and he became bigger when a red-top tabloid revealed that he'd served 11 years in prison for murdering somebody when he was in the army in Germany, so it was an amazing story. Nevertheless, society forgave him and became the most popular actor. So anyway, I sent this kid along, and I said, just, he's opening a supermarket, so I'm just have a chat with him in case he's got anything interesting to say,
Was this after you knew about the prison stuff?
Oh, it was way after, he was accepted then that, he was a reformed villain and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the kid comes back and writes the copy, and you just said there about Mr. Checker. The kid filed the copy, called him Mr. Dirt, because of course he was known as Dirty Den on EastEnders, so he didn't know what to call him.
Mr. Dirt.
Mr. Dirt.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Here's one from Matt, who says, I love how Porky can work independently, but as soon as MG suggests doing something on his own, Porky gets all bent out of shape.
What? What's that?
Well, I think this is referring to my, cookery thing. And Ernie says this: there's only one person who understands Mike Parry's mind and his jokes, and that's Porky's himself.
Yeah, is
what
that
a
right?
thick plank he is.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? Thank you.
And then it says, Steve says, off Porky goes again, slamming MG for drinking.
Yes.
Hashtag he who cast the first stone.
Yeah, well, you won't find me lying face down in a gutter or anything like that,
You
okay?
didn't have a drink today, then?
What?
Did you have a drink today?
I had a...
No, you don't drink normally during the week,
No,
do you?
I had a small imbibement today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've had a document passed to me.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, over the course of the last few hours.
Oh, what's that?
And actually, it's quite complimentary to you, bizarrely.
Really?
But would you like me to read it out to you?
If you want to.
Dear Mr. Graham,
yes.
I would like to take the opportunity to tell you and the world that Mike Porky Parry is an absolute gentleman, which matches his genius.
Well,
now, normally, that's exactly where I would stop reading.
Well, okay.
Because I'd go, well, this has clearly come from some kind of, place where strange people are kept. Mr. Parry was accompanied by a fellow TalkSport presenter, of whom I will not mention due to confidentiality. Mr. Parry should not be labelled man of the people. Mr. Parry should be rebranded man of all generations and beyond.
Oh, thank you.
I strongly believe this because he was so kind to me and my staff. Oh, super.
Yes.
Were you in a place where you could push people around?
No, I wasn't pushing anybody around.
Okay.
Well,
He even offered to take a picture, for which I was extremely honoured.
Yes, well,
I
there
couldn't
you go.
help but ask if this was a quick bladderation session, to which he replied, Mr. Ash, bladderation in moderation, my good man.
Yes.
I was boasting to my staff how much of a great entertainer and genius wordsmith he is, when after an hour of enjoying various beverages on the terrace, the staff were a little confused to see my hero staggering inside asking, is everyone having a great time, with his hands in the air, clearly demonstrating that he was.
Yeah, I didn't actually, but all of that is perfectly accurate until that last sentence. I don't know what that's about, but anyway, never mind.
Anyway,
Yeah.
says, I just want to say thank you again for your hospitality, as you are a great ambassador for the people, and I look forward to seeing you again soon at our establishment for more bladderation in moderation. I've included a picture which I will always cherish. It will have a place next to one of myself and my long-term girlfriend, Colleen. We'd appreciate it if you could give us a shout-out. Yours sincerely, Ashton.
Oh, that's rather
And
nice,
there's
isn't
a very
it?
nice picture of you with Ashton, which looks like it's on the terrace of some establishment.
It's down at Canary Wharf, actually.
Is it?
I was doing a job this morning, and
Yeah.
when it was with Al, actually, Mr. Brazil,
Uh-huh.
and when we finished, we whipped over to Canary Wharf and had some lunch in a very nice establishment.
Very
I'll tell
nice.
you what it's called, by the way.
Yeah, go on.
It's called Lobster and Steak.
Oh, I know the place. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Now, this
Well, I was only down the road. You didn't think to invite me.
where were you?
Well, I live down the road.
Yeah, but
I
no.
live about 10 minutes from Canary Wharf.
Yeah, well, no, why would I invite you?
Well, just because you're in my neighbourhood. I mean, if I came to your, you know,
Yes.
crappy part of Surrey and didn't give you a ring and say, oh, by
Yeah.
the way, I'm in your crappy part of Surrey, do you want to come down to the pub for a drink? I think you'd be quite offended.
No, I wouldn't. I believe that every man's an island, to be honest.
Really?
But anyway, listen, what I was going to say was...
Canary Wharf is an island of dogs.
What was quite interesting,
Yeah.
so Al and I were sitting at this table, having some lunch, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and this huge group of people came in, about 8 or 10 of them, right? So the staff, who were ever so helpful, because we were outside on the terrace,
Yes.
said, yes, we can cope with you, 10 of you, certainly, you know. So they pulled
10
them-
of you?
Yeah, there's 10 of
There
them,
was
yeah.
10 of you.
There's 10 of them.
Oh, this is another group.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see.
Al and I were just on our own.
Oh, I
There's,
see, right.
there's a group of 10 of them, and the staff were ever so helpful and said,
Hmm.
yes, we can help you. So they pulled all the tables together, and then everybody from this group who'd been standing there watching them pull all the tables together and put the cloths on and all that kind of stuff, then sat down,
Hmm.
and then the lady came out and gave them all a menu. So they said, this is no good.
Right.
I think they were from, like, the Far East or something, you know what I mean?
The Far East?
Yes.
What, you mean like sort of Hong Kong, that sort of way?
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
I think that way. Yes, this is no good. So the lady said, "Oh, I'm sorry. What's wrong?" They said, "We would all like chicken."
Right.
She said, "Well, the name of this restaurant is Lobster and Steak.
Right, so they don't have any chicken.
That's what we serve."
Yeah.
And they said, "Where's the chicken?" Seriously. So she
So can
said,
you go out for some chicken?
"No." She said, "No, you don't quite understand. You can have this steak, that steak, fillet steak, rump steak, you know, or you can have lobster." And in fact, it's one of those establishments.
You know, some places in America they do chicken fried steak, which is like
really?
steak fried in sort of chicken fat.
Oh, no, it wasn't that, no.
No.
But this place is one of those places which actually makes me cringe a little bit, but they've actually got the lobsters in the tank inside.
Oh,
You see
yeah.
what I mean?
Did you have any lobster?
No, I didn't know.
Why
I
not?
love lobster. I don't like lobster.
Because you can go and pick one, can't you?
No, I can't get into all that.
Why
It's
not?
rubbery. But anyway...
Rubbery?
Yeah, it's too rubbery. Lobster's rubbery.
No, it's not.
It is.
Not
It
if it's
tastes
cooked
rubbery.
properly.
Anyway, the point of my story
Yeah, go
is, after a 5-minute conversation, they all said, "Right, no chicken then." So for the 4th time, the lady said, "No, we got this lobster, that
Yeah.
lobster." Blah, 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 blah. So we got vegetarian stuff, got salads,
Yeah.
you know. We haven't got any chicken.
Right.
Said, "Right, thank you." So they all got up and
They all
left.
got up and left.
Yeah, literally.
Blimey.
And then the staff had to come back, then rearrange all the
You
tables
should have sent
again.
them to Nando's. That's all they've got is chicken.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah,
That
I
would
don't
have
know.
worked
I
well
don't know
for
where Nando's is. Now, listen. Have you ever?
I'm listening.
Have you heard about safari dinners?
Safari dinners?
Yeah.
No.
It's a new way to meet partners.
Is it?
Well, and in
What,
my
you mean
case,
go to
members of the opposite sex.
In your case?
Yeah.
Well, presumably in every case, isn't it?
Well, no, I mean, partners might be of the same sex,
Oh,
but
that's
in my
true.
case, they're of the opposite
Does that
sex,
just
right?
mean going literally into the lion's den?
No, what you do is...
Or a safari park?
Yeah, this is amazing. What happens is...
Yeah.
No, it's not something to do with the safari park.
Isn't it?
What happens is...
Right.
I'm just trying to work it out. Wait a minute. Right.
Because you know you can go to London Zoo now and spend a night with a lion.
Oh, no, yeah, and all that. Oh, forget all that. No, they're called safari dinners because what you do is you have to be popular in your neighbourhood.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So
Why?
it rules you out, obviously.
Well, I don't want to be
Yeah.
popular in my neighbourhood.
And then what
you want to be popular everywhere you go.
No. You organise a dinner for 6.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And 2 other people in the same street or neighbourhood have to organise dinners for 6.
Right.
And I have to be 3 men and 3 women at each dinner.
Yeah.
And
3 men and 3 women.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then...
What if you're already married?
No, these are for single people.
Oh, okay.
These are for single
I
people.
was going to say, it sounded some kind of swingers thing.
No.
So when I lived in Wiltshire, by the way,
What?
in one of the villages that I lived in Wiltshire,
Yes.
there was meant to be a group of swingers there.
Oh, right, yeah.
But, I mean, I never found out, obviously.
Well, you were looking.
No, I wasn't. No,
Of course you
no,
were.
I can't imagine anything worse.
Of course you
no,
were.
I cannot imagine anything worse.
Rubbish. What, free sex on
No.
a plate?
Yeah,
with
but
no
This
ties?
is where you misunderstand
Seems
me.
to be right up your street to me.
No,
that
I would,
sort
not,
of thing.
I would not wish to get involved in any kind of horizontal refreshment with people that lived in the same village as me.
Yeah, well, I
Can you
have to
imagine?
say, not on your own
Standing at
doorstep,
the school
so to
gate
speak.
the next day.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, anyway, listen, what happens here is, so it's a 3-course meal,
Right.
starter, main and dessert.
Yes.
I suppose the dessert's the one everybody's after. And...
Well, at
and
what point do you throw the keys in the middle?
No.
The house keys, I mean, not the car
What
keys.
happens is you sit there,
Yeah.
and then the 3 men get up and go to the other house.
What?
And the 3 girls get up and they go to the other house, and they'll do it round in rotation.
What?
So you have
Well, they go to the other house for sex.
no for the middle course.
Oh,
So
you mean
the
so
starter?
you have a course in each house?
Yes,
That's
exactly.
ridiculous.
No, it's
That's ludicrous.
It's like
Well, how can you be cooking if you're already eating?
it's an upmarket speed dating.
That sounds like cobblers to me.
It allows both males and females to meet new people in convivial setting.
What do you live in some horrible area?
Well, don't do it in horrible areas. You do it in a nice area, right?
Okay.
Seriously, do it in a nice area. And,
No,
and
but for example...
apparently this is the new thing.
Well, all right, but say, for example, you
Yeah.
won't understand any of this because it's about cooking, right? But if
Right.
you were providing the main course...
Yes.
And you have to go to somebody else's house to eat the first course...
Yes.
How can you cook the main course?
Well, I think you order it in. I think you order in a Chinese
You order it
takeaway or
in?
something like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I
Right.
think the eating is the last thing that you're worried about. It's what it is getting to meet other people.
Yeah.
I would imagine, because I've only just been briefed on these
Yeah.
things, that it would take place in sort of like student communities and that sort of thing, I would imagine.
It sounds mad to me. Why are
Why?
people coming up with all these ridiculous
I don't
ideas?
know.
For,
I
like
don't
we
know.
had the guy from We 5 on, didn't we, the other day?
Yes, that's right.
Who was talking about how you cook for 6 strangers.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Who pay money to come and eat at your
Yeah,
house.
yeah, who wants
This
to do
sounds,
that?
This sounds even more mad.
This sounds even more... They are called safari dinners.
You know
and-
what they should actually name it after Dennis Stein. You might not remember this guy because it was
Stein?
after you left New York. But he became the sort of consort for Elizabeth Taylor for a while.
Yeah, I remember
And
him.
he was this
Yeah, I
kind of-
remember him.
He was basically a deadbeat.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Who had kind of come... He was meant to be a comedian, but nobody really knew of any comedy that he'd ever done. And he was always in Elaine's, right? And his trick at Elaine's,
Yeah.
which was the celebrity restaurant on the Upper East
Yeah,
Side,
exactly,
was that
yeah.
he would eat
Yeah.
a different course with different tables.
Yeah.
So that he would never have to pay.
Oh, I see. He just floated around.
So he
and
just
said,
floated around.
You want
and
to talk to
everyone
me?
was like, hey,
I'm
Dennis, you're such a great
I'm
guy.
Dennis Stein.
And he would come down and he'd
Yeah.
have the starter with one lot, and then he'd move over to the next table, have his main course, and then he'd move over and have some dessert with the next lot.
Well,
but
they
he'd never
probably
pay.
want to talk to him about, Elizabeth Taylor's
Yeah.
bosom or something like that.
Probably,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Probably.
I would imagine that was the most
I
popular thing.
don't think she ever married him.
No, no, she definitely didn't.
No.
She had like 8 marriages, and
Yeah.
2 of those were to Richard Burton.
That's right, exactly right.
Listen, talking about New York, by the way.
Yeah.
I found out that Mr. Abramovich,
Oh,
of
yeah.
course, who is a...
Was he meant to have been in Chester at the weekend?
Well, yeah, I saw that. I
There
saw
was
a
a
picture
picture
that
of
said
him.
he was in Chester, but
Yeah.
I thought he only ever went anywhere where he could take his yacht, and you certainly can't berth your yacht on the River Dee in Chester because you can't. The river's too silted up.
Yes.
You can't get up as far as Chester. There's a weir just outside
Well, he
Chester.
might have gone there in helicopter, mightn't he?
Could have gone in a helicopter, you're true. But listen to this.
Yeah.
Roman Abramovich's plan to build a £55 million mansion in the heart of New York
Oh, yeah.
has been passed after he agreed to keep the original facades of the 3 houses he is knocking together.
Oh, really? Where's he going to do that then?
Well, this is on the Upper East Side.
Yeah.
Now, I saw a picture of these houses, and I know the street. I think it's around about 79th or something like that,
Oh,
right?
It's not Sutton Place or somewhere, is it?
It could be,
Yeah.
but that's a bit low down. That's
Yeah.
about 50s
Yeah, that's right,
somewhere,
yeah.
But that's where the very wealthy billionaire oil man lived, wasn't it?
Hey?
What's his name?
I don't know. Carl Icahn?
No. The guy who also had a home in London.
I don't know.
In Surrey. He was very wealthy.
Well,
It wasn't Rockefeller. It was,
narrow it down a bit more.
yeah, hang on. He was the billionaire American oil man. And, Getty, John Paul Getty.
Oh, John Paul Getty, yeah.
Paul Getty.
Okay.
He had a place there. But anyway,
Has anyone lost an ear?
no, that was his grandson.
okay.
His grandson lost the ear.
Right.
Well, he wouldn't pay the ransom originally,
Yeah.
and then he paid $1 million.
Right.
And he got the ear back.
We've got to do listography at some point.
Oh, yeah, sure. But anyway, what he did is he bought these townhouses
Yeah.
on the Upper East Side,
Uh-huh.
and he was going to knock them all into one and join them together and put a swimming pool and a sauna, by digging a basement and all
Yeah.
that, put a pavilion on the back. And the thing that the planners said were, no, you can't unless you make all the windows in all three exactly the same.
Uh-huh.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Because although they were similarly shaped buildings,
yes,
the window cornices and all that were different.
Okay.
Two of the properties, number 13 and number 15, were Queen Anne-style row houses built in the late 1880s with bay windows, but number 11 was said to have been built in the same style at the same time. But in 1923, it was recast with a red brick Georgian-type window in the neo-federal style.
Uh-huh.
So at a hearing in April this year, city planners rejected the plans and said he's got to send his plans back to the architects.
All right.
The new design that won the local authorities' approval will leave the front of each house unchanged.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So happy for him.
Yes.
Thank you very much for
And the house will
us.
then be worth $55 million.
Right.
I wonder how much money Mr. Abramovich has got.
Well, he's got plenty more than that.
Yeah.
Billions, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
David says, my wife Claire has just woken up and can hear you. Please give her a shout-out for me. We've just found out we're expecting. We've already done that, David.
Yeah, we have done that,
You know, so we're not going to do it again.
I think I
thought she was going to listen to it on the podcast.
I saw something from somebody else. It might have been the same chap saying, "Oh, you've been rude to my wife. I asked you to say hello to her, and I wasn't rude to anybody.
No,
I'm not rude to women
well,
who are
you are
carrying
generally
children.
rude. You are quite rude to people, generally speaking.
Listen, did you know that because we communicate quite a lot through email and all that?
Yeah,
it's on the way out.
What?
It's on the way out.
What, email is?
Email, yeah.
Well, hang on. You've only just got used to using it.
Yeah, well, I can tell you now.
Well, what are they going to do instead?
What it says here is emails have become the bane of working life, with staff spending the equivalent of a day a week tending their inboxes.
Yeah.
Now, businesses are getting together and trying to find ways to cut email down to size or eradicate it altogether.
Well, you can't eradicate it altogether.
It says here, and I can understand
what do you mean
this.
It says here? It says where?
In my report from Atos, who are a
Atos.
French IT company.
They're the people that keep testing people to see whether they're fit for work, aren't they?
Do they?
And they're not fit for purpose,
Really?
Atos. No.
Is that right?
Yeah, completely useless.
But what they've said is...
These are the people that tell people who can barely kind of walk that they're okay for a job.
Oh, I see.
You know.
Well, it says here, excuse me, that... the employees who overindulge in looking at their emails all the time, and there's always an excuse to say to a boss, yeah, in a minute, boss, I'm just dealing with this, you know what I mean? Or I'm just looking at the emails, or just checking back on my emails. They say that it takes up so much time, it's so counterproductive, that to boost productivity, it'd be better off taking the screens off a large number of employees who probably don't need them.
Well, I mean, certainly one of the things that is a bane of everybody's existence is when you come back from holiday, and you've been away for a week or something.
Yes.
And it says, you have 7,000
unread
emails in your
that's right,
inbox.
yeah.
Well, you don't know about that because you never go on holiday.
Well, OK, that means I'm keeping up with things. But it says here, a housing trust in Cheshire has actually responded to the suggestion and is preparing to turn off its internal server after a 2-year programme to wean staff off emails. It's called the Halton, Halton, Housing Trust, and it worked out that staff were spending 40% of their time on internal emails, which had no productive value to the organisation.
Well, there's an awful lot of emails that you get which are of no use to man or beast, right?
Yes.
I mean, how many emails would you say you get in a day?
Well, what is interesting...
in your sort of capacity as, you're running several businesses, really.
Well, yeah, what is interesting is, on my information device, otherwise known as your phone, right, I don't know if everybody's got this, they might have, I've only got one phone.
No, well, maybe not, because you've got
But when my emails come in, they come in 2 channels, one is focus and the other one is other.
Focus?
Yes.
What's that?
Well, they're ones that are specifically directly addressed to me, do you see what I mean?
So why do you get somebody else's emails?
Well, I don't, but you get all the spam stuff, don't you?
Right.
Now that goes into other. Now there's hundreds of those,
well,
right?
Obviously, I've got on my phone, I've got junk.
Oh, well,
stuff comes into junk.
Mine says other. But
Let's have a look and see what I've got from junk.
The specific, exactly. But while you're doing that, I'll tell you a story. Do you remember our very good friend Colin Myler?
Yes.
And I think Colin is now a big shot in America, isn't he?
Is he not running the Daily News in New York still?
I know he went there after the News of the World closed down.
Yeah.
He was
editor, wasn't he?
To let our listeners know, he was the last editor of the News of the World.
Yeah.
He was in charge of it and manfully sort of guided it into the rocks, really, after being told to, because Rupert Murdoch shut it down after the scandal of the email allegations.
Well, the phone hacking.
The phone hacking and all that, yeah. So anyway, he went off to New York, that's right, and he was supreme news. But when he got his first news editor's job. It was on the newspaper Today.
Yes.
Not the paper we roundly mock all the time, which has now gone into oblivion. What was that called?
Day.
That was the New Day.
Yeah.
This was called Today.
Yeah. Well, I used to be their stringer in New York.
Of course you did. And it was a middle market paper, and who was the editor? It was the...
well, David Montgomery was
David
running for a
Montgomery, the
while.
Irish chap, yeah.
They used to have a separate Sunday. Brian MacArthur edited the
Brian
Sunday
MacArthur,
one.
that's right, yeah.
He didn't have a clue.
But anyway, point of my story is David Montgomery was the editor who sat in his editor's office. Whenever he came out of his editor's office and wanted to talk to the news desk as news editor and all that kind of stuff, he was always concerned because Mr. Montgomery was an Ulsterman.
Fairly staunch unionist, I think.
Well, I was going to say he came from, sort of very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Austere?
Yeah, austere sort of background, and almost as if they didn't sort of, welcome, the input of new technology, although I'm sure he did, because he later went into it in a big way. But anyway...
Well, Today was also meant to be the world's first colour newspaper, wasn't it?
First colour, and also the main subject that they dwelt on to build their circulation early on was the environment.
That's true.
They had huge environment
Although they never
stores.
really got that right, though.
Well, they were all trying to do it all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point of the story is he came out one day and he said, right, that's it, I've had it. Take him away, and he had all the not laptops. What were they called in those days?
Desktop computers.
Desktop computers.
Yeah.
He had them all removed.
Did he?
Yeah. He said.
Well, Paul Dacre doesn't have a computer. He refuses to read anything on a computer screen.
What?
He's the editor of the Daily Mail. Paul Dacre.
Well, how does he get his information in the office?
Everything is printed out for him.
And put on his desk?
Yeah.
By his secretary or something?
Well, or by people who are doing stuff. I mean, like page proofs, the whole thing. He doesn't look at anything on screen.
Well, I can understand not wanting to look at page proofs on screen because you want to see them in actual size, don't you? And you can't get the actual size on a
dummy. Yeah, but you can look at it on a screen. I mean, that's what most people do. I mean, it's what everybody's working on.
I prefer to look at it on a page proof because it's a copy of the paper, isn't it?
Same kind of generation, aren't
Yeah,
you?
exactly. Same sort of bright spark that, he's the highest paid newspaper
but it's
editor in the
interesting
world.
that you say that because later years, when Montgomery was put in charge of the Mirror, when he was like the chief executive,
that's right.
He decided he wanted a paperless office.
Yeah.
So instead, I mean, he didn't get rid of the computers.
He went the other way.
He went the other way, and he told everybody if there's any paper on your desk when these people come in 2 hours' time, it's all going to be thrown away.
Yes.
And people were not allowed to have any paper on the desk.
There's no such thing
weird
as
running a newspaper office.
The old paperless society, which we're all heading toward. I mean, what all computers have done is make more paper, not less.
Yeah.
Because people print everything out now. They just want things printed out and put around.
I don't print anything out, really, apart from I print out maybe 2 pieces of paper per night on the show.
Everyone's a winner, baby, that's no lie. That's no lie. You never fail to satisfy.
Definitely something going on with the lights in here,
Well, they've gone up again now. For some unknown
changing
reason.
colour, don't they?
They've gone orange.
Yeah.
What was it before? Red?
Yeah, I think so.
Or yellow? It was yellow.
It was yellow.
Yellow.
And red.
And red, and now it's
Well,
orange.
that makes orange.
So it's like living in a psychedelic world, which isn't too far away from the way our minds work in this building.
Speak for yourself.
But there you go.
Okay, right. You got to go first with your winners.
I'm first with winners, okay?
Yes.
Right, my first winner is got to be Lukaku.
No, please.
It's got to be Romelu Lukaku, because Belgium were the dark horse of this championship to start off with.
Well, you said it was Austria.
No.
Yeah, you did.
No, I meant after the first game. Belgium were a fancied team who could be a possible winner of this tournament.
Yeah.
In the first game, awful, terribly quiet, Lukaku getting pelters.
Yeah.
Second game, Lukaku storms in, 2 goals, Belgium win 3-0. Lukaku has now re-established himself as one of the world's leading
forwards.
forwards.
Did you not have him as one of your heroes yesterday?
No, I didn't.
Are you sure?
No, I did not.
Because we talked an awful lot about the amount of time he had on the ball before he scored the second goal.
No, I did not, I can promise you.
No.
So that's Lukaku, right?
Yeah.
My second one is the Welsh fullback Neil Taylor, who scored last night for Wales.
Yeah, well, the second attempt.
At the second attempt, but his first ever goal for his country.
Yeah.
Not only that, the only other time he's ever scored in the whole of his professional life was in a non-league game in front of 293 people 7 years ago.
It's a shame it wasn't the winning goal in a way, isn't it?
Well, it was, but it wasn't anyway.
What?
So, hey?
Hey?
No, it wasn't. It was the middle goal.
That's what I mean. I said a shame it wasn't the winning goal because that would have been more of a fairy tale.
Yeah, but the winning goal there wasn't a winning goal.
Well, there was a winning goal.
No, there wasn't.
3-1, wasn't it?
No, it was 3-0.
Or 3-0, rather, yeah.
And if it's 3-0, there can't be a winning goal.
How can there not be a winning goal?
Each goal was a winning goal because it accumulated to 3.
Well, not really.
No, it wasn't like it was 1-1 till the 89th minute and then somebody scored 2-1.
That's
Do you
what I'm
understand
saying.
my point?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why it's not as fantastic a story as it would be.
It is a fantastic
if he'd scored
story.
the winning goal.
They were 1-0 up, right?
Yeah.
And you were going on earlier on about, 1-0's dodgy, 2-0's even more
no,
dodgy.
I'm saying that
he
some
scores the
stupid
second,
people say
2-0,
that.
and that sets up Gareth Bale to score the third.
Yeah.
He is a complete winner.
I think you got that wrong.
So, no, I haven't got it wrong. He's a complete winner for
No.
scoring for the first time for Wales in a magnificent victory, which helped contribute to taking to the top of their
can't
group.
agree.
If you can't see that as a winner, then I'm afraid you're a thicker head than I thought you were. So we've
that's
got
nice, isn't it?
Lukaku, we've got Neil
suppose
Taylor,
that's the end of the
and my
niceness
third
then.
winner.
Go on.
My third winner,
Yeah.
and I think the whole world will agree with me on this one.
Yeah.
The whole world will open their arms and their hearts
Really?
and say, "Yes, you're absolutely right."
Yeah.
Cliff Richard. I don't know what you're laughing at. It's got to be Cliff Richard.
Even Cliff Richard doesn't think he's a winner.
Cliff Richard has had the ignominy of a...
The what?
The ignominy.
Ignominy?
Right? Yeah, of a
How
two...
about the ignominy?
Yes, that's it. Of a
Look,
two...
on the front it says Cliff My Torment on the front of the Sun.
Well, exactly.
Well, he's hardly a winner, is he?
He certainly is, because he's had
I lay on the floor in floods of tears.
That's right. He's had a 2-year nightmare hanging over his head in
Yeah.
which he was falsely accused
Yeah.
of offences which are unspeakable. And what is your problem?
Sorry.
Yeah. What is your problem?
Nothing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you find this funny. Wouldn't be very nice if people came along and accused you of doing devilish things.
I don't do that sort of thing.
which you were. Well, neither does Cliff Richard. That's the
Yeah.
whole point.
Well, good.
of
Very
which
glad to hear it.
you are not in even one morsel guilty of anything at all. And to have your character, battered and stained like that.
What about that German woman?
What? What are you on about? What German
The
woman?
one on the beach.
Hey? What are you talking about? That was.
The one you talked about earlier.
Well, that was nothing to do with Cliff
Well, it
Richard,
sounded
you
pretty
idiot.
sounded pretty unspeakable to me.
That was nothing to do with Cliff Richard, you Burke.
Right.
Can you just listen, please, until I finish?
All right.
And Cliff Richard was finally told last week no charge will be brought against him. That's because he's entirely innocent. That's because there's not a stain on his character. That's because he is literally a jewel in the hearts of most British people.
Jewel in
and
the heart.
therefore we're all celebrating that Cliff Richard has got his good name back. That makes him the ultimate winner.
You are so pathetic.
No, I'm
You're
not.
just trying
I'm
to get all the
absolutely right.
Cliff Richard fans on
No,
your side.
well, you don't have to be a Cliff Richard fan to
You take that
rejoice.
all the time now,
to
don't you?
rejoice that he's in the clear because he is an innocent man.
All right. Well, I'm going to give my 3 winners now, and I think you'll find they're a lot less crazed. I think whatever psychedelic lights have been going off in here, they've obviously affected your brain. My first winner is Albania. This is a country that you have dissed from the moment the tournament started. You said they shouldn't be here. You said that they're not a footballing nation. You said that, basically it's a country that's not worth a fig. And they won 1-0. It's their first ever victory.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Yes, you did. It's the first ever victory they've ever had at a major finals tournament, right? They may actually progress to the last 16. We don't know yet because we're waiting to see on a few other results. But absolutely brilliant. They beat Romania. They weren't supposed to. They scored quite a good goal to do so. And I just think, to see teams like Albania actually finding their way into the latter stages of a Euros final is tremendous stuff.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yes.
Now, my next one is the Cleveland Cavaliers because, of course, knowing that you're a big NBA fan, you would have noticed over the weekend that the Cleveland Cavaliers won the NBA Finals.
Nobody cares.
Against the Golden State Warriors.
I don't think anybody
Despite
cares.
the fact that Steph Curry, the major sort of basketball star of the current sort of situation, plays for the Golden State Warriors. They were 3-1 down in the series, and they came back and won it. And it's absolutely brilliant. They haven't won a title till 52 years ago, right? So it's one of those fairy stories that you never really hear very much about.
Anybody cares.
Well, it's a massive, massive event, and they've had
massive
thousands.
in this country.
It is massive.
It's not massive in this building. It's not massive to our millions of TalkSport listeners.
As a sports story, it is absolutely massive, and they've had thousands of people. They've had victory parades, and everyone around the world who is a fan of basketball has totally agreed that they are winners this
Only
week.
fans of basketball, mate, are in America.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cliff Richard is not a winner. Let's put it that way.
Of course he
and
is.
my final winner, which is why I was quizzing you on that guy that scored a goal for Wales,
yes,
is of course Gareth Bale, because Gareth Bale has now scored
it's a bit obvious,
3 goals in this tournament, right?
Yeah, he's leading scorer.
He is the leading scorer in the tournament for the Golden Boot.
That was so obvious. I left that one alone.
No, it's not obvious. He has totally and utterly inspired Wales to become a team who play together, who play better off the field together and on the field as well. And I think there's no question in anybody's mind that Gareth Bale right now is the star of the tournament, because I would guarantee that there will be no team like Wales to top a group. I mean, Wales have topped this group, right?
Yep.
And look at all the other teams that will top the group. They're all teams that you would have expected to top the group.
Yep.
Wales are totally overachieving, and it is all down to Gareth Bale. So those are my 3 winners: Albania, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Gareth Bale. Very finely balanced, Mr. Parry, 4.5 points apiece. I mean, I guess if we do this week and then we do 2 more, well, the Euros will be over by then.
Well, I suppose it will be.
Another 2 weeks. So, I mean, technically, there's only 3 more left.
Yes.
And if we're 4.5 points apiece, then obviously only one winner can come out of it.
Well, that's
I
right.
suppose we could completely draw the whole thing. Now, we haven't discussed really who's going to go first with their losers or their winners. What would you like to do?
I'll let you go first with your losers.
You're going to have me go first with my losers.
Yes.
OK. Well, here are my 3 losers. My first loser is a very current one, and it's from the game last night, and it's Jack Wilshere, I'm afraid. Jack Wilshere, who has played hardly any football in an entire season, who has got himself into some, shall we say, off-the-field difficulties, finding himself in the papers quite frequently. We've said on many an occasion that we didn't really think Roy Hodgson should take him. He came on, started the game yesterday against Slovakia, and was basically very, very bad indeed. He didn't seem to be able to control the ball. He gave the ball away a couple of key times. He was quite fortunate not to get caught out. And I just think he hasn't done himself any favours at all. And I mean, if he's expecting to get back into the good books at Arsenal or get back into the good books at England, I just don't understand why. And every time I looked at him, he was kind of strolling about in the middle of the park. Didn't seem to be putting much effort in at all. So he's my first one. My second one is actually Jordan Spieth. Now, you might remember that Jordan Spieth won the Masters last year.
He did.
And the year before, I think.
He did.
And the idea was that he was going to win it again this year until he had that complete collapso. Do you remember when he hit about 3 balls into the water? And He hasn't recovered since, and he was playing the US Open in Oakmont, I think it was, in Pennsylvania. Had a terrible tantrum, started chucking his clubs around.
That's right.
He did make the cut, which was better than Rory McIlroy did.
Yes, indeed.
But he's obviously a very bad loser. And he didn't come anywhere near. He was making a bit of a run for it all at the end, but he never went anywhere really near winning it. So I think he's going to still stay firmly in my losers box. And then Mexico is my final loser, because they were supposed to be tipped to be one of the big stars of the Copa America. One of the reasons they played the Copa America Centenario in America, in the United States, was because they were going to have such a big fan base from Mexico. Because so many Mexicans are living in America. But they got slaughtered at the weekend. I think it was 6-0.
6-0.
And, just nobody knows why. Chile just completely were all over them, and nobody can understand why a team that was supposed to be one of the top teams in the competition suddenly lost by such a massive margin. So those are my 3 losers: Jack Wilshere, Mexico, and Jordan Spieth.
Okay.
Right.
Very good.
There they are. What are yours?
You're my 3 losers.
I want to hear them.
Right, my first loser, you won't be surprised to know, is Martin O'Neill.
Yes.
It has to be, I'm afraid.
Martin O'Neill.
Martin O'Neill, I'm telling you.
I don't know why you're so obsessed with him.
My players were magnificent. Well, I'm afraid that he talks a good game, but he just can't fulfil his right. I mean, look, everybody said, oh, well, they got there in the end. They got in the end. It was an appalling qualifying role they had, and they only scraped through in the end after... a 2-legged playoff and got into the tournament. Now they've got here. I mean, you could say, oh, well, it's not all over for them yet. But a 3-0 bashing up like they got the other night with Roy Keane sitting there with a face of thunder. I mean, Martin O'Neill's a loser on 2 scores for me. One, that he's just not been able to make the Irish team work. But secondly, he should never have taken Roy Keane on. Roy Keane's such a gigantic personality that it's very, very difficult to work in him and not be in his shadow because of the man's own record in football as a winner of almost every competition available, OK? So Martin O'Neill's my number 1. My number 2 loser is Lee Westwood.
Lee Westwood again.
Because once again... No, what do you mean again? I've never made Lee Westwood loser before. No.
You have, yeah, because he's never won a major.
Well, the point is, he got himself up the leaderboard in the first 2 days, as he always does, right?
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the crunch, when it comes to actually seeing a competition out, I mean, you could have nominated Rory McIlroy, but it's the first time in 3 years Rory McIlroy hasn't made the cut.
Yes.
Whereas Lee Westwood has just never got over the line.
Yeah.
He's been in playoffs and not got there, and I'm afraid I've got to nominate Lee Westwood because he had another great opportunity to grab his first ever major. And considering that competition was won, the Masters was won this year by another young English golfer, but Lee Westwood still hasn't got it, that emphasises it more. And my third loser, and it pains me to say this, but I'm afraid it is absolutely true.
Yeah.
It's Comrade Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin?
Yeah.
As a loser?
It's got to be.
Are you sure?
Well, for 2 reasons.
You better watch out for the polonium injections on the way home.
Yeah, for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
Firstly, the ultras who went to the competition, it's almost state-sponsored, in the sense that an MP from the Russian parliament actually praised these boys, sent out a message, well done. You can't do that without the backing of Vladimir Putin in Russia. However... Not only have the ultras now been withdrawn, they've gone back to Russia because they've just disappeared.
Have they?
Well,
didn't seem any trouble last night.
No trouble at all. But the other issue is the Russian team, who Mr. Putin sent there to conquer the world again, are one of the worst teams in the competition.
They're not good, are they?
So I'm afraid Mr. Putin's,
things are not going too well on the athletic front, either.
Well, they might not even they might not have any athletes at the Olympics in Brazil. So on the basis that they could be banned from the Olympics, on the basis that they've already been booted out of the Euro Championships, on the basis that they're ultras who were supposed to go and dominate the landscape in Russia, but was shamed and recalled home. All Mr. Putin's responsibilities, in my view. Loser.
OK, so those are your 3.
Yes.
Do you want to just repeat them so people can remember?
Yes, Martin O'Neill, Lee Westwood, Vladimir Putin.
In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep through the desert of the truth to the river so deep. We all end in the ocean. We all start in the streams. We're all carried along by the river of dreams in the middle of the night.
Chris says trench face. Wow.
Yeah.
What a terrible thought that would be.
Well, it could be. Listen, talking about diseases and all that, and this is a very serious story.
We were talking about diseases.
Well, I think we were.
You're going to talk about Rory McIlroy.
I'm going to talk about Rory McIlroy.
I'm glad you are, because I had a tweet here from somebody just a little while ago asking for your opinion on it, knowing that you might probably have one. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it's from Bantam Bouncer. What does Porky make of Rory McIlroy pulling out of the Olympics?
Well, I defend him absolutely.
I've got a theory about it.
Give me his theory in a minute. What I'm going to say is, if a man in Rory's position thinks that he's putting himself at risk, his health at risk, by even 1%, he shouldn't go. And the point is, he's looked at it in huge detail. I've got a doctor's view here which says all the panic about Zika seems to be about mums-to-be. The virus is linked with having a baby. But Zika has a very serious implications for men too. A man who's been ill with Zika can pass on the virus in his semen. There are tests, but none of them can reliably tell whether a man can infect others. Therefore, it's an unknown quantity. I support Rory McIlroy absolutely. And can I say, the trolls who are now giving him a hard time on Twitter and calling him a coward are in themselves cowardly for not recognising the fact that it's his decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't disagree with you about that at all, because, I mean, any troll on Twitter, and we suffer from them as much as anybody else does, you in particular, and I do, of late for some reason. In fact, there's some guy trolling us at the moment on the 2 mics. It's a complete plank. But basically, I have no sympathy for the trolls, but I think that it's not I mean, I accept that because he's a young man and he wants to have children, there's probably quite a good reason for him to consider going and to consider what would happen if he contracted the disease. Not an awful lot's been said about it, However, what I would also say is that there's plenty of other reasons not to go to the Rio Olympics.
Of course,
i.e., the crime, the fact that the infrastructure isn't particularly ready, but also
the economy is tanking, literally tanking, and every day you're reading about part of the Olympic budget has now been cancelled because they can't afford it, and all this kind of stuff.
But I also wonder whether he decided he was going to represent sort of the island, which might have caused a little bit of controversy.
Well, he comes from the island of Ireland, so I have no problem with that.
Well, I don't care about it either, but, we are not the sort of people that get worked up about these things, but if you're in Northern Ireland, which is where he actually comes from, which is part of the United Kingdom, then he should be part of Team GB. For him to play for Ireland would be something which was rather unusual.
Yeah.
But the Irish Olympic people have said it's his decision, they're not upset about it, but I just wonder if it's not, yes, the Zika virus might have been the final thing that stopped him from going, but I suspect that it wasn't the only thing, and I would imagine that he was already kind of wavering, because he needs to get his game on fire, by the way. He missed the cut of the US Open.
Did, yeah.
The last thing he needs is to go to a meaningless event, effectively a meaningless event for a pro golfer, to try and win a medal.
Well, I don't agree with that, because I think he's a very honourable boy, Rory McIlroy.
Well, he's not honourable because he's pulled out.
No, that's a very unfair thing to say.
You can't.
He's pulled out because of a health scare.
Well, you don't know that. That's what he said.
Well, I know there's a health scare.
Yeah.
And you know there's a health scare.
Well, there is a health alert.
Yes, there is a health alert.
It's not a health scare in the sense that nobody's going.
And therefore, it's wrong of you to doubt the reasons he's given for pulling out.
I'm just saying that there could be more than one reason.
I think you're being mischievous and underhanded.
No. How am I being underhanded? I'm telling you what I think.
Because you're
trying to underhanded.
You're trying to stir up trouble for Rory McIlroy.
No, I'm not trying to stir up trouble.
Because that is you've got no evidence whatsoever that he's decided, actually, I don't want to play for Ireland in case the English don't like it, the British don't like it, so I think I'll pull out. I think that's a very, very malicious thing to say.
Well, again, you're trying to twist my words. What I said to you was there have been many reasons.
No, they were your words, mate. Quite clear.
But there were lots of other words as well. You see, you've done what you always do, but in your poisonous little tabloid way, which is to pick out one thing and twist it, right? What I said was...
that's because
there are lots
words
of
are my business,
The words are not your business. They used to be your business, but now you get them all mixed up.
Words
what I did say was that...
don't come easy to you.
They don't come easy to you. What I was saying was there are several reasons why you might not want to go to Rio. Yeah. The Zika virus is one, but everything else is also a factor. For example, the lack of security, perhaps, the lack of organisation, the dangerous crime situation there, which is also going on, and also the fact that he is not playing very well. And he needs to get his form back, not for the Olympics, but for actual proper, golf tournaments, majors that he wants to win. As I said, he missed the cut at the US Open.
He did, yeah.
Right? So the last thing he needs is to go to Rio, play golf in a place which, really is not a golfer's paradise, for a medal that he might not win.
Well,
and I think there's more to it.
I'm sorry.
So I'm not being underhand. I'm just giving you a slightly more expansive explanation rather than your rather narrow-minded one.
No, mine's not narrow-minded. Mine is honest and straightforward.
You've never been honest and straightforward in your life.
Roy McIlroy has pulled out the Olympics for one reason only. He is fearful that the Zika virus...
Well, that's your belief.
It's my belief, and it's what he said, and I've no reason to doubt him. The Zika virus, which is a very real health threat, and not many people know it's a health threat to men as well as women, is something he does not have to subject himself to under any circumstances, and he would be mad to do so. He has my 100% support, and I think it is rotten of you to try and portray the boy as being
he's not a boy,
duplicitous.
He's a man, okay?
You're trying to portray him as being duplicitous and using the Zika virus for nefarious reasons, and that's really unfair. In fact, I'm disappointed in you saying that. Really disappointed.
Well, I'm so sorry you're disappointed. I'll try not to sleep at night. I'll be worried so much about you being disappointed.
Yes.
The fact is, you've got to sometimes look beyond the story and look beyond the PR spin, and sometimes consider...
Not to be a malicious troublemaker.
I'm not being a malicious troublemaker. That's normally your job, right? That's your job. That's what you've always done
historically. Agent provocateur is a good expression for you.
Agent provocateur.
Agent provocateur.
Agent is a French word for money, right? Anyway, I don't know who you're trying to impress by making out that you're being somehow, saintly about this.
Well, I'm not being saintly. I'm being straightforward.
All I'm trying to do is in the world.
I don't need to impress people.
In the world of journalism, but you're always trying to. In the world of journalism,
my image is secure. My image is secure.
You seem to have forgotten in the world of journalism, you're supposed to question things and not just accept them. I think the trouble with you is you went for a PR job for a while, and now you swallow everything that you're told.
No. I think when you start, picking holes in perfectly legitimate arguments just to cause trouble,
I'm not causing trouble.
That's not nice.
I'm not causing trouble.
Not nice.
Now, coming up,
Rory's a lovely boy, and to start causing trouble for him...
Why do you keep calling him a boy?
Start causing trouble for him is...
Why do you keep calling him a boy?
In my view, wicked.
Why do you keep calling him a boy?
Because he has a saintly, boy-like face.
And how old is he?
He's a great guy.
And how old is he?
Mid-20s.
Yeah, so he's not a boy.
Well,
he's a man.
Well, we refer to footballers as boys when they're 30, for goodness sake.
Do you?
Of course we do.
Well, that's very patronising.
No, it's not.
tell your tale now, then?
Well, if you want to hear it,
spill your guts.
No, I was going to tell you a bit later in the show, but it is worth telling. I mean, as you know, I keep in touch with...
I'm a bit fed up talking about England already.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
There's nothing good coming out of it.
No. As you well know, I keep in touch with affairs, all European affairs.
I know you do,
and all kind of things like that.
You've had one or two of them as well, haven't you?
And, of course, I have
European
my...
affairs. Have you actually had any European affairs? Have you ever had, shall we say, horizontal refreshment with a woman from the continent of Europe?
Yes, indeed, I have. Yes.
From where?
Germany.
Germany? Oh, you said the other night you didn't think German women were very attractive.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
No, you did?
Yeah, well, this is on a beach in Mallorca. So you can't really see what they look like at that time of the night.
On a beach?
After a 16-hour bladderation session.
Face down or something?
No, but I had double vision at the time. Now then...
so did she, presumably?
Yeah. Now then...
Absolutely shocking confession.
No, all I want to tell you is I was horrified about this. As you know, I'm an animal lover, right?
I know that.
And...
this is not related to this other story.
Sorry?
This is not related to the earlier story.
No, it's not related to the... what earlier story?
Never mind, just carry on.
Yeah, well, I told you about the cats. Now, what happens is, and this is shocking...
Why the mafia got in for cats?
Well, I'm just about to tell you, because, I get all sorts of information from my friends in naval intelligence. I was down on the coast this weekend.
The old Admiral. How is he?
The Commodore.
The Commodore, yeah, how is he, yeah?
Anyway... Has
he got his licence back yet?
Hey?
Has he got his licence back yet?
His licence back, yeah. I'm sorry, this amused me, but I know it shouldn't amuse me. It's all about setting fire to cats, and that's not amusing.
Well, especially since you're such an animal lover.
Well, I am an animal lover, but the cats don't actually get hurt. What? Yeah, but what amused me was, we've all seen the films, The Godfather 1, Godfather 2.
Funny enough, I watched it on Friday night.
Which one?
Yeah, Godfather 2.
Oh, I love it. That's my favourite film. With Al Pacino, who emerges as Michael Corleone, the most dangerous man in the world.
Well, he's in the first one as well,
Well, I know, but he's not...
the third one.
Yeah, but in the first one, he's not the mafia boss.
Well, it sort of finishes with him as the boss.
Well, that's right, but in the second one, exercises his power, he gets rid of Freddy in the lake, and...
Don't give it away.
Makes people go swimming with the fishes, puts horses' heads in people's beds and all that kind of stuff. But
that was the first one.
Eh?
That was the first one.
Oh, it was the first one, that's right, yeah. But shoots people through the eye when they look up from their sunbed and all that kind of stuff. That was the first one as well, yeah. But what I'm saying is,
Mo Green.
Everything we've seen about the mafia, including The Sopranos and all that, these guys are ruthless, aren't they?
They absolutely
are. Their latest trick, they seem to be running out of ideas.
I mean, to be fair, there's not much point being in the mafia unless you're ruthless, really. I think it's one of the first things they say. Yeah. Are you ruthless?
Yeah.
No.
But anyway, they seem to have changed tack a little bit, because what they're into now, right, is kidnapping cats, right, in Sicily. And then what they do is they tie a length of rope behind the cat and they put a petrol-soaked rag.
Why?
Well, I'm about to tell you. Then they set fire to the petrol-soaked rag and they sort of startle the cat, by giving it sort of electric shock or something.
Right.
And it goes running off into the forest.
Yeah.
And then because...
The forest?
Yeah, because it's tinder dry in Sicily... Yeah. It sets the forest on fire,
right? Which
is the whole plan.
Oh, I see.
Because you won't believe...
Why do they want to do that?
Because the mafia are into reforestation.
Reforestation?
They've invested millions in reforestation in Sicily.
What, you mean planting more trees?
Planting more trees.
Well, why are they burning them down, then? Because
they're growing their trees in tree reserves, reservations. Right. They need somebody to order them to sell them.
So you mean if it's not one of their tree reservations, they're burning it down?
That's right. And not only that, but they need
like extortion and gambling and prostitution.
This is what I'm saying. And like murder,
drug smuggling,
and all this. So they need the Sicilian government to. Yeah, they need the Sicilian government to start ordering like thousands more trees because they've grown all these trees with the reforestation program they're running, but nobody's buying them.
Well, where do they want to sell them? I don't understand. Why would they want to sell trees?
They want to sell them to Sicily.
I thought it was olive oil they were in.
No. Yeah, let me read a bit of it. Now then, Giuseppe Antocci.
Who?
Giuseppe.
Giuseppe?
Giuseppe, that's him, yeah. Giuseppe Antocci, who's director of the...
Doesn't sound very Italian.
He is Italian. Director of the Nebrodi Regional Park was talking after firefighters put out a spate of forest fires across the island last week. They are thought to have been caused by the mafia. They forced the
I've never heard anything so ridiculous.
No, I know. This is it, right?
This is not the plot of some Montalbano show.
No.
Show, Montalbano.
No.
By the way.
No.
He's an Italian detective.
Oh, is he?
But he's always rogering somebody.
Oh, is he?
And he's always, missing the job.
Is he? Really, yeah. Doesn't make him a bad person.
No, not a very good detective, though.
Now, one of the mob's arson techniques is to tie a petrol-soaked rag attached to a cat And
you think they could come up with something slightly better?
Well,
than that?
I know. It's not exactly Godfather, is it? You know. And then to make the cat run into the forest. As the rag burns, the cat flees in terror with a burning rag behind it. Obviously, keeps running to try and get away from the. It doesn't realise it's tied to it. You know what I mean?
Well, hang on. I've got Steve here. So wouldn't the spark from the electric shock ignite the petrol-soaked cat?
No, not really, because it's a cattle prod type thing. You know,
cattle prod.
Yeah, but anyway, it sets fire to everything it touches. Now that makes it harder for the investigators to figure out where the fire was started, and unfortunately, the cat eventually is incinerated in the fire and doesn't get out.
Right.
So they can't find out what caused the fire. Now, what happened
Don't
is...
they find the remains of the cat, though?
Well,
I think forensics are quite good now.
Yeah, but all those trees that come down, it probably covers it all up.
I had a tree come down, actually, in the garden yesterday.
Hey?
A tree came down the garden
I'll tell you about that. You can tell me about that in a minute. Yeah. Anyway, Alfredo Morvillo... Yeah, chief magistrate in Sicily, says the mafia had invested in reforestation companies and are looking to cash in on replacing all the burnt trees. At the Nebrodi Park... The Cosa Nostra clans have already tried to murder Mr. Antocci, so he's getting nasty.
I can't believe any of this. That. Why on earth have they got into the tree business? What's going on?
Well, I don't know. I'm telling you. So anyway, they've tried to murder old Antocci, the magistrate, right?
I'm sure that's not the right way to pronounce his name.
Here. It's getting a bit more mafiosi now.
Okay.
They recently ambushed his car and sprayed it with bullets. But what are you laughing at?
Because it's just a ridiculous story.
But fortunately, a passing police car. It's always handy to have a passing police car. Somebody's trying to murder you.
Well, they thought they'd pull over, did they?
Hey?
They thought they'd pull over the cops. Oh, look, there's a guy being sprayed with machine gun fire.
Passing police car intervened and saved his life. Now, the mobsters are furious with Mr. Antocci, this is the chief magistrate, after he tried to put a stop to their long-standing habit of renting grazing land. God knows why. Renting grazing land in the park, which was really a racket to siphon off millions of pounds in EU farming subsidies. Right. So that's what...
That's interesting.
That's what the mafiosi are into.
So that's what they're now into, is siphoning off some of these grants.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that makes a bit more sense.
Yeah, so to have so many fires across Sicily at the same time, help fan the flames is no coincidence. We believe there are various reasons for this wave of attacks. And here at Nebrodi, my campaign against the mafia will go on, says Mr. Nocci. So he's a good guy.
Who's Mr. Nocci? Which one's he?
He's the chief magistrate. Antocci. Mr. Antocci.
Yeah, that's
Mr.
what I mean.
Antocci,
Nocci's a different guy.
And Leo Luca Orlando. What's your problem?
Where did you get this rubbish?
Leo Luca Orlando, who's mayor of Parma.
Right.
Is that in Sicily?
Parma in Sicily, yeah.
Yeah, Parma, that's right.
Yeah.
Also blamed the arson on corrupt forestry workers who he says are being paid by the mafia to set fire to the trees. So it's all a bit of a mess.
It is a bit of a mess. But there we are. I had no idea the mafia were into such wide and varied agricultural sort of businesses, right?
No, I
Johnny
agree.
says this, you guys must have been in New York when John Gotti was at large. I actually was.
Yeah, we were, yeah.
I walked into him one night, actually, which was very, very unsettling.
Where was that?
It was on, like, do you remember that? There was an Indian restaurant that we used to go to.
Yeah.
I was with my ex-wife at the time.
Yeah.
It was on, like, 57th Street, that road that went towards...
Do you know you used to use that? Stuart from the Mirror used to go there all the time.
Yeah, and it was a very nice Indian restaurant. And I was walking... We'd come out of the Indian restaurant, and I was walking towards 2nd Avenue to get a taxi home.
Yeah.
And this limo kind of pulled across the pavement, you know, like they sometimes do.
Yes.
As if it was going into an underground car park.
Yeah.
And then it just stopped in the middle of the pavement.
Near you?
Well, just in front of me.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
And as I was kind of just, you know, effing and blinding and saying, you know, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you do in New York. You know, start shouting at you.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
All 4 doors burst open. And 4 very big guys got out, including John Gotti, who got out of the door right next to me and stood there looking right at me as I was sort of in mid-F-word. Yeah. So sort of about to give them all a hard time for, you know, getting in my way.
I mean, did they stop to sanction you, or did they stop in there anyway?
They were getting out to go to dinner, obviously.
Oh, I see, okay.
So the guy had pulled into the pavement.
Yeah, I see,
and instead of just stopping by the side, he'd pulled right into the pavement.
Yeah.
So they were getting out right in front. And so our eyes just met. And he just gave me this very cold stare.
So Gotti didn't smile or anything?
No, he just stared right at me, straight into my eyes.
Right.
and I stopped swearing.
And you just kept walking?
And I just kind of got out of the way.
And worried about your shoulder blades as you were disappearing down the pavements. Yeah, down the road.
I made sure that I walked quite swiftly away from him. But I covered quite a lot of that.
Well, he sorted out our favourite restaurant, Sparks, didn't he? By spraying it with a machine gun to kill a couple of his enemies.
I was on the spot for that as
That's
well.
right,
I'll tell you more about that later.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies, tell me lies. Oh no, no, you can't disguise. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Can we try and pick a listography for the next hour?
Yeah, let's do that.
We've had lots of really, really good ones over the last few hours, I have to say. Here's one from Pete. He says, how about 3 favourite school memories?
Nice.
Which I thought you might fancy.
Yeah.
3 places you visited which were much better than you expected.
Yes.
Which is interesting. List of 3 things you must do on your bucket list and why they're important to do.
Bucket lists are rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
Here's one from Lucy who says your 3 favourite works of art and why. That might be interesting.
Yes.
Rich says list your top 3 winners and losers of all time.
Yeah.
3 best breaking news stories or 3 best interviews from Liz. I think we've done something similar.
I think
to
we
that.
have. Do you want memories from school?
Memories from school, I suppose, would be all right.
Yeah,
we haven't done that one. I quite like the artworks as well. Maybe we'll hold that one for another day.
If you want, I don't. You choose. Go on.
I don't know. Let's do 3 favourite works of art. Shall we
Okay,
do that?
that's fine.
Just for a change?
Yeah, no problem.
Because we do talk about school memories.
Yeah,
quite a
we
lot.
do.
We'll
Yeah,
do that
I
again.
agree with you. I agree with you.
All right, so we'll do 3 favourite works of art. We'll do that in the next hour.
Okay.
Lots more issues coming in from the weather-related scenario because we've got the Copa America game between Colombia and Chile is still delayed, apparently.
Yes.
Because they've got some massive thunderstorm problem over in Chicago as well.
Wow,
And,
the whole world must be subject to one giant thunderstorm at the moment.
You also do wonder as well whether because in fact Sandy was telling me the other day there's going to be fantastic, fabulous weather for the referendum vote,
Right.
And people were asking whether that would mean more people would vote or less because if you're sort of enjoying the weather,
Yes.
you might not bother.
Yes.
But if it's going to be tipping it down like this, you would imagine that might affect the turnout. I suppose.
Yeah, indeed.
Andy says this: MG is a duplicitous plank with tabloid tactics against Boy Roy. Porky is always straight-edged, promoting the truth.
Thank you. Thank
Amazing,
you.
isn't it?
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Incidentally, I'm getting information through my headphones that a contributor to this show tonight is now stranded because of storm conditions.
Bill Burrows, he's meant to be coming in a night early because of the referendum scenario tomorrow.
Right.
But he's stuck currently in West London.
My God.
I think his engine's flooded out.
Flooded engine.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you saw the pictures that came in earlier on Twitter from, I think it was Rains Park.
Horrendous.
Which is sort of out that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
And literally sort of 2 feet of water going down the streets. It's absolutely amazing.
God.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So no end to it.
No, I know, there is no end to it.
What happened to the greenhouse effect? We weren't supposed to have any rain after about the year 1978.
Well, it has become very sort of... I mean, I said to you when I met you outside tonight, it feels kind of almost like tropical rain, doesn't it? It feels like that rain you get in America when it's very warm and you don't actually mind that it's raining because it's usually a bit of a relief and it lifts all the humidity. And
then about 20 minutes later, the steam's rising off your shirt, and 10 minutes after that, your shirt's dry again.
Exactly.
That happened to me once in British Honduras.
Did it?
I was caught in what do you call a very heavy rainstorm? A cyclone?
Or a hurricane, maybe?
Hurricane? No, it wasn't a hurricane.
Monsoon?
Monsoon. It was a monsoon. Absolutely right, yeah.
Is that? Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to tell me something else.
No, that's what happened to me in British Honduras.
Do you know what happened to me today?
What?
I have to tell you this. I'll keep the story short. But I had to get something sorted out with my bank, right?
Right.
And normally I do everything. Normally I do everything online. I had to get a card basically, which would enable me to do something else because the card I had currently run out.
Just an ordinary debit or credit card?
Well, I don't want to give away the details for obvious reasons. I don't want to tell people on national radio what kind of card I'm looking for because they might try and intercept it. My point is that I just needed a card. It was a very straightforward thing. It took me an hour on the phone. In addition to, ringing up and first having to pump in all sorts of information with this automatic
drives
voice.
me mad.
Then getting through to the person who said, oh, yes, well, we can't help you with that. You have to go to this other person. Then being on hold to that person for a while. Then going back to another person. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, if I didn't have, a spare hour in the day, which I don't always have.
Yes.
Well, if I had like a job where I worked during the day and I had, there's just no way to get anything like this done.
No, I totally agree.
When are they going to fix the system?
I don't know.
The point? And I know there's a certain amount of security.
Did you have trouble getting through to a person?
Yeah, I mean, I was probably 10 minutes before I spoke to an actual person.
Right.
And then I spoke to a person, but it turned out that they couldn't help me. So they said, we'll put you through to this other person. But then they just put you back in the queue.
Well, this is it, you see.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I know.
You go through that kind of thing where you're so angry.
Yes.
But then you go past the anger.
Because once
you've been on hold for 20 minutes, you kind of think, well, It's kind of pointless hanging up now.
Yes.
I've been on 20 minutes. It will surely be done soon. But
Yes.
it was an hour.
Yes.
I kid you not.
Yes.
I can see you have no sympathy at all.
I do, and I feel sorry for people who get
You feel
stuck into
sorry
that.
for me?
I mean, do you remember I had to open some new bank accounts
Yeah.
regarding our business
I do,
a few
yeah.
months ago?
We've only got
Drove
5
me
seconds
mad.
here, I know.
In the end, I drove to the bank and
Yeah, I
demanded
know.
to speak to somebody face to face.
Yeah, good idea. This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mites. There will, of course, be a podcast coming out a little bit later on.
Yep.
We're going to do listography in this hour as well on our favourite 3 artworks, which should be interesting. I've got some amazing pictures just been sent in to me from David
Right.
of some flooding in Barking. Have a look at that. It's like a river
Barking.
going down a road.
Wow-wee.
So
Yeah.
you may want to be careful heading home. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Bad news.
because it must be. I mean, this is a bit like what happened the other week, where they said where there was that. What was that place down in Surrey that got flooded underneath the
it was
bridge?
a place called Wallington,
That's right.
And the water just fills up in the space of minutes.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, and they
it
said what
gathers underneath a railway
Yeah.
bridge, and it literally just rose in minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said basically
Yeah.
that I think they had a month's worth of rainfall.
That's right.
Inside a couple of hours.
That's
which
right,
is,
they
it's
did,
the kind
yeah.
of rain we're
Yeah,
having out there.
yeah.
But absolutely dreadful.
Terrible.
Matt says this about you. He says Porky couldn't be straight edged if he used a slide rule and a spirit level.
It really is
Which is
that
a bit
right?
harsh.
And where do they get that impression from? I wonder.
It just
Well, they
must
get it
be-
from you.
No,
you know,
they don't.
denigrating my character,
No.
and my personality at every turn.
No, absolutely not. Here's one from Matty, who says, clearly the Muppet doesn't know how to change the station. If you don't like it, don't listen, you absolute plank. He's directing that at this guy who's been trolling us all night.
Right. Okay.
David says this, I went to Glastonbury in 2011 with my wife and daughter. I highly recommend it to Porky. It was a magical experience.
He went to Glastonbury.
Yeah.
With his daughter.
Yeah.
Found it a magical experience.
Yeah, and his wife.
Well, a guy must be on acid. I'm sorry, but you must be.
Well, I think that's very harsh.
Well, it probably is, but
You've got to be a music fan
how
as well.
anybody could possibly enjoy it, I've no idea at all.
You've got to be a music fan as well. And I mean, I suppose, as I said to you the other night, if you could go and stay in that pop-up hotel,
Yes.
albeit that's a rather expensive way to do it.
10,000 a week.
That's the way that I would prefer to do it.
Yeah, and me.
Where you could have a
But that's
shower,
not
every day.
But then you're not enjoying what the purists call the Glastonbury experience,
No.
rolling round in the mud, the blood and the beer, you know what I mean?
But I think, as I say, there's an element of slumming it that people do. They want to sort of say,
Well,
and also there's a
They live on a different planet to me. That's uncivilised. I don't want to do it, you know?
But it's also, there's this kind of collectivism that people get involved in, which involves, sometimes football rivalries and,
Yeah.
people like to be part of a big group.
Yeah.
And lots of people like to come back to work from the weekend and say, oh, yeah, I was at Glasgow, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Si says, driving near Leeds and it's a nice dry night up here.
Yeah.
Well, of course, that wasn't quite what we were looking for, Si, but thank you anyway for
Yes,
telling us
well,
that up there,
no, I mean,
that up there it's actually all right.
Well, the thing is that storms are raging over in Chicago, right? But they ain't raging in Leeds. So there's something very strange going on with the world temperature, is there not?
There certainly is. Now, Western says, Ronaldo surely needs to file an injunction against Porky, using his name after the Porky jinx strikes yet again. We haven't really talked about Ronaldo, but it was interesting watching him, because I know that you had said that he was probably going to single-handedly win the game, and he very nearly did, right?
Yes.
But did you notice that every single time something, it's like if you contrast him with Gareth Bale, Gareth Bale plays for Wales in a way that Ronaldo does not play for Portugal. Gareth Bale does not throw a tantrum every time, one of his players takes the ball off him.
Well,
or
they're different
shoots and doesn't
personalities,
score. Did you see the thing with the microphone earlier in the day?
Yes, I know he threw it in the lake, didn't he? That was a bit harsh, I thought.
Yes.
It was only a microphone, I suppose. But,
Well, yeah, but I mean, microphones are expensive.
Well, they are, yeah, but I mean, we've got more microphones, haven't we? You can always find a spare microphone.
Well,
if you
yeah,
see
but
what
you
I
don't
mean.
know where that guy came from. Maybe it was the only one.
Yeah. The other thing is, am I right in thinking that after Gareth Bale, his teammate at Real Madrid, had scored an outstanding free kick in this competition, after his nemesis, Lionel Messi, had scored an amazing free kick in Copa America.
Yeah, and basically beaten the Argentine record of goals scored.
Exactly. You could tell every time there was a free kick, anywhere between 20 and 35 yards out, he did the famous Ronaldo pose, stealing himself, a bit like Johnny...
Yeah, but he does that jump, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right, stealing himself like that Johnny Wilkinson used to do when he was taking a kick for England's rugby team, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then pace it up. He got one or two of them right, but he got one at just, I think, midway through the second half, completely wrong. He just skied it over the bar.
He did.
Which is very unusual for Ronaldo. He normally gets it right. But he was determined, what I'm saying is, to match the achievements of the two other great footballers in the world.
But it's like
Gareth Bale and Lionel Messi.
And you know what I thought of during, and you'll like this.
What did you think of?
It's about you. While the game was on,
yes.
all I could think of was your description of Gareth Bale being his personal bull butler.
That's right.
Because when he plays for Portugal,
yes.
he doesn't have that.
No.
And so, he's constantly sort of struggling. There was one point in the second half
yes.
when he the ball was passed to him and he kind of had made this run across the penalty area.
Yep.
And he bumped into one of his own players.
Yes.
And the other guy took the ball off him because they had a kind of collision. And you should have seen the look he got.
Yeah.
Because he missed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You just don't see Bale doing that.
No, dagger eyes, so to speak, No.
It's almost like you can see him going into the coach's office after the game and saying, this man will never play for Portugal again.
Exactly, he play in the team, I know play in the team, and that sort of stuff. Have you seen this report that the dresses issued to ladies at Wimbledon who are sponsored by Nike have had to be recalled because they are too revealing?
Are they?
Yes.
I haven't seen that story, no.
Nike have recalled the tennis dresses due to be used by their female players at Wimbledon after complaints that the skimpy outfits revealed too much flesh. The manufacturers asked those who wear the apparel, at least 20 players in the main women's draw, to send them back for alterations.
The what?
To send, The
what did you say?
Apparel.
The apparel?
Yeah, that's right, to send them back for alterations days ahead of the championship. Players complained that the £75 Nike Premier Slam, that's what it's called, the Premier Slam dress, flies up above the waistline and hampers their play.
Well, that happens a lot, but most women who wear those kinds of dresses don't normally have a pair of sort of shorts or something underneath.
Yeah, well, exactly, but apparently these dresses are all over the place, so,
really?
It's not good, is it?
You know what we didn't talk about was the, do you remember, was it the Swiss game? What was the game where the shirts all got ripped?
Yeah, that's right, they got ripped like paper, didn't they? Now that related to something I warned about, because I remember looking at it and thinking...
I think it was a Switzerland game, wasn't it?
Switzerland game, yeah, it was, the red shirts, weren't they? They were being pulled apart.
That's right, and about 5 of them ripped open.
Yes, that's right,
and the guy made that rather... off-colour remark saying, I hope whoever made these shirts doesn't make condoms.
Yeah, well, that's not good. In fact, there was a row about a condom advert being shown in the middle of the England game,
Was there?
The other night, yeah, it was.
Well, a lot of people have been complaining about the adverts.
Yes, they have, yeah. There's one advert they don't complain about, and that's... it's because I did a voiceover.
That's
on,
right.
A
lot of people started recognising it.
Yes, they did, and they don't complain about it. They say, play it again, Sam.
There's an amazing picture here.
Play it again, Mike, actually.
Russell has sent in of a man, you're just hearing it here, a manhole cover in Victoria, which has got loads of water flying out of it. It's going to burst soon,
Let's have a look.
apparently.
Have a look at that.
Well, I don't want to sort of make it too loud for you, but it's like a manhole cover shooting water out.
Oh, that's Victorian London?
Yeah.
Must mean that the drain below is overflowing.
Well, it must be.
And shooting out the top. Yeah. My God. And that's in central London?
Well, it's in Victoria.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not
good.
good.
On your way home.
Yeah.
Well, no. You might need to stay here.
No. I can avoid Victoria. That's not a problem. But problem is, I'm low on gas, right?
Gas?
And or petrol, as we call it in this country.
Yeah. No, see, because of our time in the old New York City area.
Yeah.
I mean, I never have to question you on that.
No, exactly. And
why? Well, did you not once say to me that you're never supposed to allow your car to go below a quarter?
No, you're not. I totally agree.
So how's that happened?
Well, what happened was, because of the inclement weather, which I thought would clear up, I didn't fancy pulling across a huge puddle into a petrol station. And also, we had a bit of work to do before the show tonight, didn't we?
So
I was trying to get
here.
We
always have a bit of work to do.
Yeah, but we had a particularly bit of work to do. However, as I pulled up, you pulled up as well, and you'd had the same problem with the weather getting here. Now, I'm only worried that with all this lightning going around, if they start closing all-night petrol stations, I'm going to be absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
And
have you not got enough petrol to get home?
I don't think I have. It's,
really?
There's an orange light on saying reserve fuel tank. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
That is not good.
And I'll only get to the nearest gas station, which is about a mile away, I think.
Well, you can always tramp down if you've not got a canister in the back.
No, of course I haven't got a canister in the back. What do you think I am? Some jerk who goes around...
Well, running out of petrol.
Yeah,
no, of course not.
Yeah, and needs a fuel. Did I tell you about the guy in Washington who I think I've told you the story.
You have told me the story, yeah.
I sort of...
The one who pretended he'd run out of petrol.
Always, and went around bumming $10 off people while he was walking around with an empty gas can. Excuse me, is there a gas station around here?
Yeah.
Sorry, what? Yeah, my car is... I just ran out of gas around the block there. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I come out with my wallet. I was just making a call for my wife, and could you help me with $10 and I'll give you my address? And honestly, he used to do it every night.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Well, you managed to sort him out in the end.
I did, yeah. I stuck him in my car, so I'll take you back to your broken down car, and then took him on a terror ride around Washington, screaming around corners.
Well, if you like.
So where's your car, buddy? Where's your car?
Well, if you like, I'll give you a lift to the nearest petrol station.
Yeah, that'd be good if you could,
And you can buy some petrol there.
Yeah.
But you'll have to buy a canister. And then you can walk back with it.
Yeah, well, I think I'll risk trying to get to the petrol station first.
Really?
And if I get there and it's closed, I'll just have to wait until it opens again.
Yeah.
It's the only thing I can do.
Larry says, this monsoon weather has been caused by a 10-year warming of the deep Atlantic, blowing the jet stream over the southern part of the UK.
It could be.
I'd heard that this was all coming from France, because that's where they're having all the thunderstorms.
Do you know
it's coming the other way.
Do you know there's water in our oceans, particularly the Atlantic Ocean?
Yeah.
No, hang on, that has never come to the surface. And it could be coming to the surface now. So for thousands of years...
What, you mean it's never been churned up?
Exactly. For thousands of years, the water's been trailing along literally the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean.
Right.
And now for some unknown reason, for some reasons that scientists can't explain, that water is now coming to the surface. And of course, it's very cold water because it's been in the depths for so long.
Oh, yes.
And it is...
Deepest depths.
Yes, been imbalancing the world climate.
Really?
That's what I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't challenge you on that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
But anyway, we've got lots more coming up, including Porky Vision.
Yeah.
And we'll keep you updated on
Porky
the terrible
Vision.
storm.
Now, what time is that on?
It's very soon, so you better get your
No. Just
stuff together, was what I was about to say.
Just getting my research documents and files together.
I'm sitting in the railway station, got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound, I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silent.
Now, this is our moment of listography. You might wonder why we're playing that, but because we're doing our 3 favourite pieces of art, you might be able to work it out.
Right, yeah.
Why we're playing this piece of music.
Homeward Bound?
Yeah.
Well, that's Simon and Garfunkel.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
But what's Garfunkel's first name?
Art.
Very good.
I like it. Well done. Yeah, in fact, what's the full name? It's not Art, is it?
Well, it's usually short for Arthur, isn't it?
Arthur, yeah.
It doesn't quite work if it's Arthur.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
we haven't really had that much of a sort of what you might call a cultural bent on the show very often.
Yes.
But this was asked for by Lucy, who's actually an artist
Okay,
as well.
excellent.
Who came to Dingballs, funnily enough.
Oh, really?
So I was very delighted to meet her there.
Very nice to see her.
Yeah, so so we've got 3 opportunities to explore art that we either have or like. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to own it, obviously.
Okay.
But if you do, that might be good.
Yeah.
So would you want to go first with the first one of yours?
Yes, I'll go first.
All right.
My first piece of art, which is magnificent, I could stand there and stare at it all day, is John Constable's Flatford Mill.
Okay.
Without a shadow of a doubt. John Constable is my favourite artist ever. I have a home in Constable Country, Orwell Quay in Suffolk.
It's not really Constable Country, though, is it?
Well, it's about 6 miles from Constable Country.
I mean, can you see any hay bales?
Yeah, I can see a few, yeah.
Really?
Well, you can see the sea as well because it's on a marina. But our colleague Mr. Brazil lives bang smack in the middle of Constable Country.
Okay.
I mean, you couldn't get closer. Dedham Vale, he lives there, and so I've actually been to the places where the Hay Wain and Flatford Mill were painted.
Yeah.
and it is quite spectacular.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
that's quite a good one.
Yes.
My first one is going to be Guernica.
Yes.
Which is a Picasso painting that he made
yes.
about the Spanish Civil War, and it's one of those amazingly sort of, I suppose, I don't know how you would describe it, you would call it something very kind of evocative, because it's all about the Spanish Civil War. It's considered to be an anti-war painting. I think he painted it in like the 30s, and it's on tour quite often. And I think it's been in the Louvre for a long time. I saw it when it was in New York, because it came to New York at some point.
Okay.
And it's a and the thing about it is it's just a huge painting.
Right.
It's very long.
And who's it by?
By Picasso.
Picasso.
And it's much longer than it is kind of tall, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
And it's just one of those paintings you can stare at for ages and ages and see all sorts of different things. So that's my first one.
Okay, is it? Right.
Yeah.
No, okay. So a second piece of art.
Yeah.
Second piece of art. Now, it doesn't have to be a painting necessarily, does it?
I suppose it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't.
It could be a sculpture.
Well, that's exactly what I'm about to say to you. My second is the sculpture of Winston Churchill in Parliament Square in London.
Okay.
Which I think is magnificent
Yeah.
because, of course, you got to remember my father was a Second World War naval hero.
So you keep saying.
So he used to tell me, that's rather dismissive.
Well, you keep saying
dismissive.
it. Well, you keep saying it.
Well, he was torpedoed in the Atlantic aboard a boat, when he was 19.
So you keep saying it.
Obviously, he told me of some of the facts of the Second World War. We wouldn't have won the war without Winston Churchill. We'd now be subjugated to the jackboot of the German tyranny. And for that reason, I admire the man so enormously, and I go sometimes and stand by his statue and thank God for our freedom from tyranny. Yes, I do.
When was the last time you did that?
Quite recently, recently. And that was because it's near Victoria Station where I sometimes get my train, so I sometimes walk down to Parliament Square from there. So it's Winston Churchill's sculpture, without a shadow of a doubt.
Okay.
Is my second piece of art.
Well, I don't think that's a bad choice at all.
Yes.
I'm going to go for somebody called Hieronymus Bosch.
Who
I was introduced, because you have to remember my dad was an artist, you see. So, I mean, he always had great art books at home.
Oh, I see.
And many of those art books are some things. I mean, nowadays, if you go into like an old second-hand bookshop and find some of these old art books, people buy them, take the prints out from the inside and actually frame them.
Right.
Because the prints were such high quality. You know?
Yes.
And so he introduced me to this guy. He was a Dutch painter from around about, I think, the 15th century.
Yes.
But he did these amazingly complicated pictures of things like heaven and hell.
Yes.
And I became fascinated as a child.
Yes.
Because you'd look at them and there were these figures who were in absolute torment on the one hand, which was hell.
Yes.
And then heaven, on the other hand, were all these kind of celestial types.
Okay.
And there was quite a lot of nakedness in them as well. And I got quite
nakedness.
I got quite fascinated by some of his kind of.
Well, you know why? Because of the nakedness. You're
probably
a bit of a perv even at that age.
Well, I think that's a very harsh thing to say. Actually, we're talking about art here.
Yes. Okay.
I don't think pictures of naked people in art is in any way perverted to look at.
Yeah, every naked picture you look at, you have a think about it, don't you? Eh?
I think about what?
If it's a woman,
think about what?
Yeah, you do.
What are you talking about?
Potential sexual partner.
It's like sitting with some kind of Neanderthal. I mean, it's absolutely. I mean, would you say this to Melvin Bragg if you're on the South Bank?
No,
show?
I wouldn't say to Melvin Bragg. No, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, well, he's not he's not averse to the old Rogerisation. I can tell you that from the start.
Well,
anyway, there's one particular one called Heaven and Hell, which I've always been fascinated with, and I don't actually know where it is.
Yeah.
And I've never seen the original of it. But it's one of my favourite pieces of art.
Right, okay.
What's your third one?
Well, my third one is any painting by L.S. Lowry. You know, Matchstick Men and Matchstick Cats and Dogs. Yeah. But in particular, I went up to see Gordon Taylor once at the PFA headquarters in Manchester. Yeah. And Gordon has one on the wall. It's called Going to Work.
An original?
Yeah, an original. Wow. Yeah, and it's worth over £1 million. And it's called Going to Work.
He doesn't own it, though. Presumably it's the PFA.
Yeah, the PFA own it. It's an investment, you know. And it shows, you know, the people in their clogs shuffling off to work to the factories with the smoke belching out in the heartland of northwest of England during the Industrial Revolution.
Yes,
and it's utterly astonishing the impact a picture like that has on you. So Ellis Lowry's people, his characters, his paintings were so simple and yet so evocative.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
Because he didn't try to. I mean, I can't understand the top or bottom of a Picasso picture, but I can well understand an L.S. Lowry picture, and therefore I nominate him as my third artiste.
Beauty, of course, is all in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
Yes,
really?
Of course it is.
I'm going to be rather, shall we say, I'm not sure what the correct word is.
Yes.
But I'm going to nominate one of my father's paintings as my third favourite one, which is the one that I put out on Twitter actually a while ago. It's in the house down in Sussex. It's a massive painting that he did, and it's very abstract, but inside of the painting. And I'm not sure if he ever gave it a name actually, so I can't give it a name.
Right.
But he painted it, and it's quite a big canvas. But one of the clever things that he did was he almost did it in one kind of movement of his hand.
Yes.
So everything is very spherical.
Yes.
And every shape is kind of connected to the other shape. And I'm trying to move my hand to show you, but I know you can't see it on the radio. But inside of the circles, and if anyone's seen it on Twitter, I can always retweet it.
Right.
He's got faces of members of the family. So
really?
He's got me in there, he's got my sister in
there.
there.
And they're quite clearly your faces, are
they?
And
if you look at them, you can see them. Yeah, and it's really clever.
I see.
And obviously, because it's by my dad, I think it's fantastic. And I stare at it often and think of him, which is nice. So those are my three, really.
Okay.
I mean, again, it's a bit like books and films.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many other paintings
subjective
that you could have said that you liked. You know.
Well, I would have said David Hockney, you see, because my favourite modern artist is David Hockney. He paints huge canvases of trees in fields and trees in a line sort of, tree-lined sort of path in North Yorkshire, something like that. They're spectacular. Yeah. It's fantastic.
I'm surprised you didn't say the Mona Lisa or something like that.
Well, that's too obvious.
Yeah.
And the other one is, which I think is fantastic, is the Scream.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic painting.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Edvard Munch.
Edvard Munch, because...
I used to have that as my little my little sort of picture on my email.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it was how I felt when I used to work here some years ago.
Yeah, that's right. The sort of people we used to work with in those days. Fortunately, they've all left now. But no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And to me, it so clarifies, one complete human emotion of, I don't know where to go next. Frustration and horror and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that would have been a spare one.
I mean, I quite like some of Van Gogh's stuff. I quite like some of Monet's stuff.
Van Gogh, I like Van Gogh.
Jackson Pollock.
I like the irises.
The irises?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Starry Night?
Well, yeah, that's right, yeah. My father would never listen to that record because he thought it was a perverted record.
He thought it was perverted?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think it was about...
This is where you get it from, obviously.
No, I didn't get it from anything. It was that...
Uh,
Well, you just called me perverted for looking at Hieronymus Bosch's pictures of naked men and women.
Well, that's a bit dodgy. But that was done by Don McLean, who also did American Pie.
Yeah.
But the line I thought object to was... So on those starry, starry nights... so it's something about, as lovers often do, you took your own life, Vincent.
You took your life as lovers often do.
This world was never...
meant for one as beautiful
as you. That's right, yeah.
What's perverted about that?
I don't know. My father was very old school and... he felt that was some sort of weird message, to revolutionise the world or something. I don't know. Yeah.
How bizarre.
Yeah, very odd. Yeah.
How bizarre. Anyway, those were our listographies. Keep them coming because we'll have to do another one tomorrow.
Yes.
And the next day. Oh, actually, not the next day, but all next week as well.
Indeed.
It has become quite a popular little feature.
Oh, indeed.
Actually. It has to be done. Now, coming up next, of course, it is Porky Vision.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to give anybody any kind of prelim as to what you're going to be talking about.
We will be discussing a Rogerisation situation in which I can place myself through something I've seen on the TV.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
How about this from somebody called Rob, who says, "Go and see Matisse's The Snail at the Tate Modern. It is stunning." Yes, I'm quite fond of Matisse as well.
Right.
Here's one from Sean, who says, "Good morning, the two mites, a.k.a. the two raconteurs, bon viveurs. Great TV show, Bosch, about a cop called Hieronymus Bosch." I didn't know that.
Bosch. What are we talking about Bosch for? What's
well, because one of my... You don't listen to anything I say, do
you?
you?
Yes, I do, yes.
One of my artists that I chose was Hieronymus Bosch.
Of course it was.
A 15th century, Dutch painter.
Indeed.
And apparently there's a TV show named after it.
Oh.
Which you should know, really.
Well, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
And now somebody also asked, why don't we do a next week's quiz on John Constable? And that's from Steve, but I had to remind him, we've already done one on Constable.
We have, yes.
And you got 3 out of 10.
Indeed.
So there we are.
I'm only happy when it rains. I'm only happy when it's complicated. And though I know you can't appreciate it, I'm only happy when it rains. You know I love it when the music...
We are the two mics, of course. Porky Vision coming up a little bit later on. We'll be doing a podcast later as well. If you're in Glastonbury right now, we know some of you are listening to us. The show gets underway properly, I guess, over the next few hours. But it must be absolutely awful in the middle of this storm where the rain is battering down. There's thunder and lightning.
Why do people subject themselves to it?
Well, we're going to ask one man who knows the answer to that very question. He is Nick Harcourt.
Excellent.
We've spoken to him many times in the past.
Yeah.
We haven't spoken to him for a long time, actually. Nick, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
How are you, fellas?
We're very well indeed.
Thank
we
you.
haven't spoken to you for like what seems like an age, Nick. I'm glad to hear you're still around and glad to hear you're still following the football. I was looking on your Twitter and you were celebrating the fact that 4 teams from what we used to call the British Isles are all still in the Euros. Let's ask this first question. Why do people go to Glastonbury to get covered in mud and get completely soaking wet and smelly for 4 days?
Well, first of all, I thought you'd forgotten all about me, so thanks for giving me.
No, I think we tried to get you a couple of times, and we never answered the phone, so we sort of gave up for a while.
And the other thing is Villa is my team, so the less we say about that, the better. But
tremendous.
While we're talking about Glastonbury, why indeed do people want to go and subject themselves to that? I think that people are secretly hoping that you're going to get one of those beautiful English summer weekends, and that it's going to be all love, peace, and happiness. But then again, there's enough people and there's enough history, I think, of Glastonbury being, a mud fest that people must have a little bit of a clue what they're in for, right?
Well, they've got a clue what they're in for. And what they're in for, in my view, Nick, is
a disgusting experience. Anybody who wants to wallow around in mud and not bath or shower for 3 or 4 days, use communal loo facilities, with
latrines.
latrines with thousands of other people. It's just not civilised. It's not civilised. They shouldn't be allowed back into society once they've been to Glastonbury.
But isn't that the point?
Should be deported.
But isn't that the point? They want to be uncivilised. It's the closest they can get to being uncivilised. What do you think, Nick?
You know something? I was at give away my age now. I was at Woodstock '94.
Wow!
And if you remember that one, they called it the Mudstock because basically the second and third days of the 3 days were a complete washout, and exactly what you're talking about, which was people were swimming around in other people's what.
Yeah.
And it's pretty horrible. There is this great thing of festivals, obviously, the communal experience that people want to experience when they go to these things. But, you wouldn't catch me anywhere near that place this weekend.
Oh, no, I totally agree. And, you said you went to Woodstock in '94. The original Woodstock, when was that? Is that 67, 68
yeah,
or something?
Around then, yeah.
69 was the original
69,
one.
And if you're at that one, you don't remember it. Basically.
Well, you don't remember it, no, at all. If you remember the '60s, you weren't really there. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, Nick, the original Woodstock was, the festival of love and peace, and what you've just said about the communal aspect of getting together and a brave new world emerges from all this love and peace. That's one thing. Okay, I can accept all that. But then you've told us quite rightly, everybody knows when they go to Glastonbury now, they revert to animalistic behaviour, uncivilised, trashy, filthy, ill-disciplined, brutal way of living. And we need psychologists, psychiatrists and people like that to go and talk to these people to find out what's wrong with them.
So I take it you're not going.
Oh, I won't be going. No. I'd run a million miles.
He doesn't even know where it is. I mean, he's told me he's been to Glastonbury tour, but he didn't realise there was a town attached to it, not more than 2 miles away.
Yeah.
And also, he's only, poor old Porky's only been to one concert in his life, which was the Beach Boys and Elton John together, right?
At Wembley Stadium.
Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, that was about, about 75, 74, 75, something like that.
So, I'm wondering if you think it might be an age thing. It's either aging hippies or just young kids who don't know any better.
Well, I think it's a mixture of both because we look at the pictures of all the people there, and it is definitely a mixture of both.
It's become a very middle class kind of outing. Basically, I mean, when I was working in the 90s in London in the newspaper business, all these kind of bright young things and people that lived in Chelsea, and I mean, it was all, you're off to Glasgow. I mean, it became this very posh thing to do, and it still kind of is like that. It's no longer like even Woodstock '94. There was a lot of drugs being taken, and I'm sure that's being done in Glastonbury as well. But for a lot of people now, it's the only opportunity they get, as I said, to get out of their comfort zone. They've never been this far away from Waitrose in their lives, and they're going to this thing where they feel like they're having an incredible adventure.
Yeah, well, maybe they are having an incredible adventure. I don't know, mate. As I said, I'm probably with you in so much as the idea of going to something like that. When you're stuck in the mud and in the middle of the field there with all sorts of weird stuff. I don't know, but they say it's about the music. The lineup is fantastic, and good luck to everybody who braves it.
It's got to be better than Kanye West last year trying to do that Queen song, Bohemian Rhapsody. Do you remember that?
Say no more. Yeah, I'm with you. The thing is, though, there's so many festivals now. Across Europe, obviously. We even have a few in the States now. When I first got here 20-odd years ago, there weren't any. But, there's so many festivals in Europe. I mean, if you really think about it, do you want to have a soggy weekend in the south of England, or maybe go over to Europe and see something there? There's so many great festivals.
Now, Nick, 2 observations on Glastonbury. First of all, as usual, of course, years on, it's now a sellout because there is actually a part of the Glastonbury site now which is walled off to the great unwashed masses because it's a pop-up hotel where you can pay £10,000 for the week to live in luxury. So that's observation 1. Observation 2, I have received information that within the next couple of years they're going to change the Glastonbury site anyway because now it has become so disgusting in terms of the occupation of hundreds of thousands of human beings. They've got to take it elsewhere.
Oh, really? They're going to take you to another site?
Yes, definitely. The guy who started it when 500 people turned up for the first one and all that. Well, he's made his millions.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Quite rightly so. And I think he's just said the site's just so inappropriate for it anymore. It's apparently on the Somerset levels, which gets flooded anyway. So there was no real. He never envisaged there would be hundreds of thousands of people there. So you got to take it somewhere else. Will it still be Glastonbury?
Well, obviously not. But I think that. When you look at a music business, and this is another conversation for another day perhaps, when you look at a music business where nobody makes money from selling records anymore, that the only way that artists can really make a living is from doing these huge events.
Yeah.
So, the whole festival thing, as I mentioned, even in the States here, has become such a big money spinner for a lot of artists who perhaps can't go out and make a bunch of money on their own doing a tour. But if you stick them on a dozen festivals every summer,
yes.
Then people can make a living. So, festivals have become something very different from what they were in the 70s, that's for sure.
I was saying to Mike last night that some of the acts on there that he actually would recognise would make your hair stand on end in the sense that, you can still go and see these people. Like Art Garfunkel's going to be there, Madness, Squeeze, New Order, Earth, Wind and Fire, PJ Harvey, Jeff Lynne's ELO, who just embarked on a big new tour as well.
Yeah.
So, there's an awful lot for your money, I suppose, if you like.
Yeah, and I think, again, it really comes down to the experience that a lot of people want to have. It's not the experience I want to have, but, I have been to some great festivals in England as well, but in the summer, when it's beautiful, when you've actually had good weather, and that can be a lot of fun. Of course, you still see the crazy drunk people who forget to put sunscreen on, and, you feel sorry for them the next day when they look like lobsters, but... the festival experience can be fun, but a miserable weekend in the rain is not for me. So I'm with you guys.
That's right. Now, Nick, the other issue here about Glastonbury and all that is that if you have these headline acts that my colleague Mike Graham has just outlined to you, what then is the principle that started
they're not
these
the
festivals?
headlines. They're the kind of lower down ones.
Yeah, OK. What I'm saying is I thought these festivals were for the emergence, and I remember them coming through, of groups like Mungo Jerry. The first we ever heard of Mungo Jerry, right? In the summertime when the weather is fine, gonna get right down and all that. Now, they emerged from a festival...
You're older than me, mate.
Sorry?
I said, you're older than me, mate.
No, I won't be older than you.
He's older than everybody.
But Nick, what I'm saying is, surely the principle of these festivals originally was to accommodate these emerging groups. But they haven't got a hope in hell now, have they, up against those names that we've just outlined?
I think there's still a lot of emerging bands on these bills.
Oh, there's loads, there's loads. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's the headliners obviously that sell the things out. And that's why they become so big when they can put headliners on. Like a Radiohead or like a.
Well, it's Coldplay, Adele, and somebody else this year, I think.
Yeah, so
Muse.
Adele, huge, Coldplay, huge. These are the people who are selling the festival out.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I got a tweet here from a guy called Michael. He says that it's the SZ Festival in Budapest. It's on an island in the Danube. He says it's great, it's dry weather, and a top lineup as well, much better than Mudstonbury. So that's one of the ones you were talking about, probably, Nick.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have a list in front of me of all the other festivals, but there's so many great festivals in Europe, in places where it's probably a lot more pleasant. You know?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is a lot more pleasant. Anywhere's more pleasant than Glastonbury. Should be shut down on public health grounds because somebody's got to emerge from there with some terrible disease that we've never heard of before. Believe me.
Like trench foot.
Yeah, no, worse than trench foot. It'll be something like trench face or something like that, and people will all come back like lepers. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
Could spread. Nick, thank you very much indeed. We'll be going to the Edinburgh Festival, actually, if you happen to be over in Edinburgh later on in August, but there we are. There won't be any mud there, but there'll be plenty of drinking going on, I should imagine. That was Nick Harcourt talking about Glastonbury. Brendan says the Glastonbury Festival is supposedly moving to Longley in 2018.
Well, there you go.
But it's only going to be for 1 year during its fallow year.
No.
How about that?
No, I told you.
We shall see. That music means only one thing. It is, of course, time for Porky Vision, the best TV review this side of what we're saying is Reykjavik or Keflavik, of course, because Iceland happens to be in the news at the moment. I'll just read you this before you start. Belfast Billy says, please don't mention Game of Thrones, Porky, or at least warn the listeners. I don't believe you are going to do Game of Thrones. No, I'm not.
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Or give anything away. So.
Apparently the world's best ever battle happened in Game of Thrones
Very
last
expensive
week.
battle, too.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. No, listen, what I want to talk to you about is this, right? Now, there's this programme on Saturday night. It's called The Liver Birds, OK?
Oh. Well, not the original Liver Birds.
Well, this is the thing. You know that the writer, Carla Lane, died last month.
She did.
So I'm not going into, historical television, from my youth or anything like that. The point is that to celebrate her life, right, they showed a classic episode.
Oh, right.
Now, what I want to say is this. This was a tale of two girls who lived together in a flat in Liverpool. That's why they're called the Liver Birds.
Yeah.
In the late 60s, early 70s, right?
Yes. Well, I was going to say, I used to watch that show sort of quite religiously.
Yes.
Because in those days there wasn't much on TV.
Yes.
But I can't remember the last time I saw one.
Yeah. Well, the problem is it didn't represent Liverpool in the 60s or 70s. There was hardly ever any mention of the Beatles, right?
Right.
There was hardly ever any mention of, Jerry and the Pacemakers, Ferry Across the Mersey and all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is, I used to go with a mate of mine to Liverpool in those days, like the mid-70s, OK?
Right.
And this was set about in the mid-70s, or it might have been a bit earlier. But the point is, the whole point of going over to Liverpool and going to the Pyramid nightclub, right, was that there were dozens of young ladies there, and you always usually ended up going home with one of them.
Right.
And
it's a familiar pattern, isn't it?
Well, this is it.
Life.
No, this is why me and my mate used to go over. Me and my mate Cole, who's from the Wirral. Unfortunately, he died on the Queen Victoria boat when it pulled into Venice, and they found
this guy,
yeah, he hadn't got off, so they went and broke the door down to his cabin and found he was dead.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a shame, really, but these things happen.
Well, especially for him.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And but years ago, we used to get in the car, and there wasn't a drink driving situation because you got in a car, drove over to Liverpool, we parked the car somewhere, but we knew we wouldn't be getting back in the car until 10 or 11 o'clock next morning.
Right.
You used to go over on a Saturday night, and
so you have to be careful where you park then.
Not really, because in those days they didn't have all the meters all over the place. You could basically park anywhere, you know. So the point is, what I'm saying is, the Liver Birds thing didn't ring true for me because of the lack of Rogerisation.
Right.
There was a load of that going on.
No, but there was always, always a fella in the episode, wasn't there?
No, not really.
They were always looking for it.
Not really. In my view, it just didn't represent what was going on in those days. You've got to remember, it was only 10 years, like in the mid-70s, 75, 76, something like that, you know. It was only 10 years after the Summer of Love. And the Summer of Love was 1967.
So was it not also something to do with the fact that it was a family show and it went out kind of, to family prime time? So they couldn't have that much of the old horizontal refreshment in, could they?
It should have done. It just wasn't realistic at all in any way. Now, the point is... What
is the point?
Well, the point is that the Summer of Love, which is in 1967... and celebrated like Free Love Man and all that kind of stuff. That came back to this country very quickly indeed. In fact, I would say the mid-70s were much more promiscuous than today. Much more promiscuous.
I would say not.
No, I would say they were, because everybody then felt, that if you can get on the pill and all that kind of stuff.
But you see, the difference
there was lots of Rogerisation around.
But the thing I think that's different between now and then was that there wasn't as much promiscuity in the sort of people over the age of 40, whereas now everybody's at it.
Oh yeah. There's
a
lot of middle-aged women now getting divorced because they want to go out and get a lot more nookie, if you see what I mean.
And men.
And some men, but men in their mid-50s not as attractive as women in their mid-50s, in my view. You know what I mean?
Well, that all depends on your perspective.
Well, it depends on your perspective. What I don't like is the idea of a man in his mid-50s, if you see what I mean, Mike. Running around after young girls who are 20 or 30 years younger.
Don't like that.
Well, I just think I think it's a pretty disgraceful and disgusting behaviour. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose you're right.
You see these Russian oligarchs who are all go on holiday to places like Cyprus.
Yeah.
And,
what about Ronnie Wood, then?
Ronnie Wood's doing OK, because he's taken his responsibilities very seriously. He's 69, he's just got a new little pair of twins, he's taking it very seriously.
Right.
Says he's changing all nappies and all that kind of stuff, But the Russian oligarchs on their, they're big fat guys, and they lie in their sun lounges, reinforced sun lounges, I'm told, along the side of the swimming pool in Cyprus at these 5-star hotels.
Oh, yeah.
And they've all got very young Russian ladies with them, look a bit out of sync. I'm told they do treat them very well. It's not dismissive.
No.
They don't treat them,
not
you know,
sexist in any way.
They're not
sexist.
No, not sexist. No, they treat them like ladies, you know,
No.
and they pull the chairs out at the dining table for them to sit down, all that kind of stuff, you know.
Right.
So that's very good. But the Liver Birds thing to me never made it. I mean,
So was this like just an episode of the Liver Birds?
Yes, it was just an episode,
okay.
but it wasn't true to life. Now, the point is, me and my mate, one night, right, we went...
Well, you're not going to mention the other TV shows?
Oh, yeah, I will in a minute, yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying, on this Rogerisation situation, one time we decided to branch out. We went to Southport to a nightclub called Toad Hall.
Toad Hall.
Named after the Toad Hall in the book by, you know,
Toad of Toad Hall.
Toad of Toad Hall, you know, the guy who wrote Wind of the Willows.
That's him, yeah, Kenneth Graham.
Kenneth Graham, that's right, yeah.
Not a relation, by the way.
And that was even more spectacularly successful because the girls in Southport, you know, weren't even as wide, as world-wisely as the girls in Liverpool.
Worldly wise.
So when me and my mate turned up, you know, sophisticated guys from, you know, what's your problem?
The thought of you turning up and anyone thinking you're sophisticated.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Extraordinary.
That was a real success. So that was that. Now, talking about young ladies on television, there's a new show coming out. It's called It's Not Me, It's You.
Okay.
And
there's a lot of new stuff out. I saw a trailer for Victoria last night.
Victoria. What's that about?
I think it's about Queen Victoria.
Oh, about Queen Victoria. Okay, I thought it might be Victoria Beckham.
Not Victoria Station.
Now this
or Victoria Beckham.
Yeah, this new panel game, It's Not Me, It's You, is probably going to be hopeless, to be honest.
Is it?
It's on Channel 5.
Okay.
And the centre person figure in it is Eamon Holmes.
Okay.
Who I think is excellent as a presenter.
Has he not got enough to do?
Well, I don't know. He does Sky News, and then does he do once a week a mid-morning show on ITV, or is it every day?
I think he does every day, doesn't
Every day. I thought it was once a week with his wife, Ruth. Is it Ruth?
I thought he used to. He used to do this morning, didn't he?
Yeah, okay. Anyway, look, the point is...
Well, just ask me a question and don't let me answer it.
What?
Why don't you just ask me a question and don't let me answer it?
I did ask you, and you said you think it's every day.
And then you went, anyway.
Yeah, anyway, Now, what I'm saying is, I'm sure Eamon will be very amusing and all that kind of stuff, but the reason why it's worth watching is for two particular reasons. One of them is Kelly Brook, and the other one is Vicky Patterson.
So is this like two teams then?
Yeah, two teams,
so
that's
Kelly's
right.
in charge of one and Vicky's in charge of the other?
Kelly Brook and Vicky Patterson in charge of two teams, and they each week have different celebrity guests who have to tackle various silly games and challenges designed to test their knowledge of dating and relationships.
Oh, God.
Now,
Doesn't sound brilliant, does it?
Now, Kelly Brook, of course, was only this week again confirmed as the world's most beautiful woman, wasn't she?
She was confirmed as I think almost the perfect
woman,
but
right?
in terms of her, but it was in terms of her sort of vital statistics,
yes,
if you like.
Yes, that's absolutely. But I mean, you know, in every, you know, she's a multimillionaire. She's been successful. She said only recently, I've given up on dating men with the prospect of marrying them. She said, I date younger men now, and I'm going to, find myself an updated new hottie every couple of years.
Yeah.
So she's
there goes your chance then.
Well, absolutely. But she's very much into it.
She's been through her older men phase.
Yes, she's been through older men phase. Now, Vicky Patterson,
Who is she?
Well, I think she's in Geordie Shore or something, or it might be what's the Essex one?
Essex,
only one in Essex, something like that. But she's pretty famous anyway. She's very good looking. So they're
compared to Kelly Brook.
Well, she's not as good looking as Kelly Brook, but they're both on the same show, so you probably wouldn't notice the difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now they're going to be in that show and very easy on the eye. Now the Musketeers, right? Bit disappointed with the Musketeers because I started watching it and then it went off. Do you know why it went off?
Why?
Because of the scheduling of Euro 16, which is what we're involved in.
Right.
Euro
You're
2016.
Right. She's in Geordie Shore.
She's in Geordie Shore. I told you about that. Right.
So she's an English television personality, columnist, writer, and model.
Absolutely.
Writer. She's a writer.
Oh, writer, is she? Okay, yeah, okay, fine. Now, what I was going to say to you was, is that the Musketeers are big Rogerisers. You see what I mean?
The Three Musketeers?
Oh, yeah, very, very big Rogerisers.
Really?
Yes, you'll find that.
I don't remember that being in too many of the films.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. This is a new episode. It's a new episode. It's on Mondays at 9 o'clock, and I think you'll find that, what were their names again? Gaston? I think old Gaston is chief Rogeriser.
Aramis was one, wasn't he?
Who?
Aramis was one.
Aramis? Yeah. That sounds like a men's eau de cologne.
Yes, that's because it was a men's eau de cologne.
Yeah, that's right. I thought it was.
It sounds like it. It was named after one of the Musketeers.
Yeah, was it? Yeah. Old Gaston is chief Rogeriser there,
right.
and
a lot of people think D'Artagnan is one of them as well.
D'Artagnan,
but he's not, though, is he?
I think he is, isn't he? I think he is.
No, a lot of people think he is, but he's not.
Oh, isn't he? Who is he then?
No, he was their kind of associate.
Oh, was he? All right, yeah, okay. Now, so that's all the Roger Eisen situation, which you all need to know about. Now, the other one, which is very important, is unlocking the cage. This is...
we're still with the Three Musketeers here.
No, Three Musketeers have gone.
More like the Man in the Iron Mask.
Man in the Iron Mask, that was Leonardo DiCaprio.
Was it?
Yes, it was, yeah.
I remember the older version.
I remember the Leonardo DiCaprio version.
DiCaprio.
Begging not to be put back in the Iron Mask. Yeah. No, please, don't put me back in the Iron Mask. Not the mask. Yeah, that's right.
So this is unlocking a different kind of cage, is it?
Yeah, this is unlocking a cage. Now, this is about trying to free animals in captivity, so it's very close to my heart.
Okay.
And
is Tommy the Chimp in there?
Well, he was subject to a similar sort of legal approach. Now, this guy is called Stephen.
Stephen?
What's his name? Stephen Wise. His name is Stephen Wise.
I thought it was about animals, though.
It is about animals.
Well, the animal called Stephen.
What?
Is the animal called Stephen?
No, the lawyer is called Stephen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me just see what's going on here. Right, now, Stephen Wise is an American lawyer who decided to get rights for animals. So he goes to the High Court to try and free a load of chimps.
Isn't he the guy we spoke to? Do you remember we spoke to an American lawyer about Tommy the Chimp?
I think we did.
I think that's the guy we talked to.
I think it could be.
Yeah.
Could be Stephen Wise. Could be. Anyway, it's a programme about him, and he wants to battle all these to free all these chimps who are kept in shocking conditions at zoos and in laboratories throughout the state where he lives, New York State, OK?
Yeah.
And he said...
Yeah, I'm sure he's the guy.
He probably is. Now, he said, under the law, non-human things such as corporations, ships, states and rivers had been recognised as legal entities, so why not animals, OK?
Yeah.
So he goes through and watched all the course of the law case, right? And we saw footage of Merlin. Merlin's a chimpanzee being kept in a tiny cage. And, you know, it was a horrible thing to see. It wasn't Tommy the Chimp, it was Merlin, OK? And Merlin lost the only friend in the world he had, which was his mate, who also lived in an adjoining cage, OK? And Merlin got depressed, and it was... Merlin's cage.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely heartbreaking to see Merlin punching himself in the face in anger and frustration.
Oh, dear.
So
what channel was this on?
This was on the BBC.
OK, so you can see it on iPlayer then if you missed it.
Yes, I think it's on BBC 4.
OK.
And it's a truly shocking programme, OK?
OK.
But in the end, he didn't manage to get any rights for animals, so it's got to happen all over again. But it was a terrible reminder of the way that we don't look, after our animals properly in this world, OK?
OK.
That is the end of Porky Vision.
Thank you very much indeed. You've never said that before. I'll tell you about Porky's little gesture in a moment, because he's obviously champing at the bit. You know,
I'm not champing at the bit.
You know, to be filled with praise.
No,
I was very touched by what you did, right, on Sunday.
Yeah.
But it was Sunday.
So why are you just so dismissive about it?
Because it's now Tuesday, right? I've drunk the champagne. Yeah. It's not Father's Day anymore. Life goes on.
Oh, well, tell me...
what have you brought me today? What have you done for me lately?
Just tell me about the drinking process, then. How did it go?
The drinking process went well. I managed to get out of London quite quickly, which was nice for a change.
Yeah.
For some reason, it wasn't as busy this Sunday as it normally is.
Right.
And... took me about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes to get down to Sussex.
Lovely.
Where the sun was shining.
Yes.
I took my own advice, wrapped I took it out of the box, showed it around, everybody was very happy. My kids gave me a nice present as well. They bought me a couple of, polo shirts.
Yes.
Which were from, I think, actually your favourite shop.
Oh, yes?
Yeah. I think they had a Slazenger, possibly. Anyway, nice blue shirt and a nice white shirt, sort of tennis shirts, right?
So where are they from?
Well, Sports Direct, where you got all your stuff.
I don't buy anything from Sports Direct.
You buy all your stuff from Sports Direct.
I bought one pair of shoes from Sports Direct.
You said you bought all your shoes from Sports Direct.
Rubbish. One pair.
You buy all your shoes from Sports Direct.
I bought 2 other pairs that didn't fit and I gave them away.
Dave Levine behind the glass is drinking out of your mug, which is a Sports Direct mug, which you brought in.
It's not my mug. I didn't bring it in.
You bought your Pierre Cardin shirt you bought from Sports Direct.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No,
they're on sale there for £4.
Well, I've no idea about that, because I got mine for about... much more than that, about 65 quid.
I was 44 the last time. Up to 65
from
now.
The Pierre Cardin shop.
The Pierre Cardin shop.
Now then,
so I wrapped the because it wasn't. You hadn't chilled it, unfortunately, so it wasn't ready to drink.
Well, it wouldn't have stayed cold all the way home.
It would have
anyway.
stayed cold if you'd given it to me in a sort of a cold bag. You could have got one of those.
I didn't want to take it out of its decorative box that it came in.
Oh, okay.
That's why it cost an awful lot more than 35 quid.
You sure it wasn't what? Because it had a box.
Well, it's a presentation
pack. How much
pack.
was the box?
Presentation?
It's not a presentation
It was
pack.
a presentation
Absolute
pack.
rubbish.
I don't
anyway,
know why you're so
if
dismissive.
if ever you want to see...
You didn't sound any pictures of you drinking it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's pink champagne. It would have made a nice picture, Pink.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time I drunk pink champagne. What do you think? I'm some slapper from, some little town that you used to go and haunt.
Yeah, probably.
Who's never seen a glass of pink champagne?
Yeah, I would think so,
I don't think so.
Right, anyway, listen, enough of that.
Anyway, if anybody wants to see you presenting me with this amazing bottle of champagne...
Yes, that's right.
I mean, it wasn't as if it was Dom Perignon or anything.
Sorry?
It wasn't as if it was Dom Perignon. It was Moet.
Yeah, Moet Chandon, the best vintage.
No, it's not. It was a very nice gesture, and I said thank you. Yeah. But, I'm not going to thank you for the rest of my life for it.
Yeah, well, I don't expect you to thank for the rest of my life, but as long as you're aware of things, that's fine.
I'm very much aware
Now, I think we should move on, because the problem is now that we face...
Well, let me read you some of the reaction first. Okay. David says this, Porky's an Indian giver, tell him to shove his champers right up his you-know-what.
That's a bit harsh.
Yeah. An Irish one says, sorry to tell you, but Porky won that bottle in a raffle at the bingo.
No, it didn't. And somebody else put a malicious note around Sunday afternoon saying, I've just come out of Tesco's and they're offering Moet Chandon 2-for-1 offers.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
BOG off, buy one, get one free.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolute nonsense. You can bog off, pal, whoever you are.
And Steve has sent one in saying, hang on, I bought it for Porky when he refused to drink from me at Dingwall's.
Rubbish.
And he's got a picture of the very same box that you bought.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if it fell off the back of a lorry.
No, it didn't fall off the back of a lorry. Now, enough of that. Now, the problem is, of course, because we failed miserably to get to the top of the group, that we were expected to win. And by the way, what an achievement by Wales. I can't say enough in praise of Chris Coleman. You know, I tell you all the time about Chris Coleman's face, how it's so expressive.
Very rubbery, yes.
How it's rubbery and moves. And funny enough, I spoke to somebody when I was at the Hippodrome last Thursday, wasn't I?
Yes, you
were.
Doing
Doing something with Monsieur Brunel.
Involved in some kind of presentation or other.
Yeah, that's right. And there was a guy there who works in sports marketing, and we were just talking, and we mentioned Chris Coleman because he'd done some business with him.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to him, don't you think Chris Coleman's got a very expressive face? And this guy started doing all sorts of Chris Coleman impersonations.
Right.
Like,
Really?
Yeah, like...
What sort of Mr. Bean-like?
Yeah, that's right. Who's the actor again?
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. He started twisting his nose around his face, and his eyes were wide open, because Chris Coleman's got a very expressive face. Yeah. And when you look at him, you think, wow, every sinew in this man's body is actually involved in his communication process, which comes out through his face, through his eyes, through his lips, through his mouth, through his ears, his nose, wrinkles his nose and everything. He's an incredibly good communicator.
He is a very good communicator.
Whereas Roy Hodgson's not.
No.
Roy Hodgson...
But as you say, part of that is because he doesn't want to be. But he doesn't want to be a good communicator.
He doesn't want to tell anybody anything.
He doesn't want to be a good communicator. And also, look at what it means. It means that England's first game against Russia, which they were so dominant in. He keeps talking about how dominant the team were. And how dominant, as Slaven Bilic actually said, all this possession talk about, England having possession against these teams means nothing because they didn't want possession.
They didn't score.
None of these teams. No, listen to what I'm saying. Yeah. Slovakia and Wales at the time, and also Russia, they didn't want possession of the ball. They didn't care if England had all the possession.
Well, the two other things on that, by the way, we didn't realise how rubbish Russia are until Wales turned them over tonight. And by the way, that's not criticising Wales.
Slovakia beat them.
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
Slovakia
got 1
beat
point.
them.
It was against England.
Exactly. And then Wales beat them. So we actually didn't do a very good job against the poorest team in the group. We gave them too much respect. They're the weakest team in the group. We thought they were the strongest after us.
Yeah.
And then we didn't realise really what a tremendous result we got against the Welsh, because we went into the game expecting, this is easy, we'll turn them over.
Hang on, you went into that game saying that, Wales were basically, the team with the big momentum.
I said it'd be very hard to beat them.
But then England beat them. Amazing. And you've been all over the place in this tournament.
So
you were backing Wales against England. And then when England beat Wales, you were backing England to be top of the group.
No.
I don't know where you're coming from.
No, don't worry. I know exactly where I'm coming from. The only thing I'm saying is now we've got to play. Now, old Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Do I not love Ronaldo? Do I love Ronaldo?
Do you love him? Do you not love him? I don't know.
Oh no, he's a wonderful guy.
You love him?
He's an absolutely wonderful guy. I mean, the way his moods can change after that last dreadful game when he topped off 4 blatant misses by hitting the penalty against the post.
You'd have to say, apart from the penalty, I mean, he was pretty unlucky.
Yeah, lucky or whatever. Fancy posing for a selfie with a fan as he walked off the pitch.
Maybe
then
it was
the fan
somebody you knew,
invaded the
maybe
the pitch.
It was somebody you knew.
Well, could have been. I don't know. But anyway, the point is we could come up against him next, and we're not very good against one-man teams.
No, that's true.
Gareth Bale turned us over, and it was only... I mean, do you realise the 92nd minute is a very important minute for England in this competition.
Yeah.
In one game, we managed to concede 2 points.
Yeah. Very good.
Or was it 3?
You
Two.
conceded 2, yeah.
2. In another one, we managed to gain 2 points.
Yes, very good.
And in the third one...
In the third game...
nothing happened in the 92nd minute at all.
So it's pretty flat then.
Yeah, it was flat, yeah. We didn't get anything out of it, you know what I mean?
5 extra minutes as well. Where did that come from?
Don't know. They only played about 4 and 64. 4 and 24 seconds. I noticed it on the clock.
4 and 24?
Yeah,
Why are you talking like some kind of pirate?
4 and 24.
Anyway. No, I've got some more tweets for you here.
OK.
Western says this. Next time Porky talks about his Pierre Cardin shirt, the price will have gone up again by another 20 quid. # inflation.
I've got more than one PR Cardin shirt, thank you.
What sort of shirt you got on tonight? Apart from this general hideous one.
Well, I don't know the exact make. It's a designer shirt. Well, I don't know.
You don't know the make?
No.
Well, should I have a look at the collar?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm fed up of you and your grubbing little hands down the back of my collar to try and find out what the label is in my shirt.
I've never put my hands on the back of your collar.
So forget that, pal.
Pete says this, the ulterior motive of Porky's gift to Mike Graham is becoming apparent. # winners and losers. Is that what this is all about?
No, not
yes,
not at all.
So
I do not want it included in winners and losers.
No, but you want people to think you're a lovely, kind, generous bloke, when everybody knows that's the exact opposite of what you are. Because you might get a few extra points in winners and losers.
Oh, you think that was my only motive, do you?
Well, you're admitting it was a motive then.
It was not a motive at all.
Well, you just said, was it not my only motive?
No, my motive was to make you feel happy on Father's Day because I had been a bit harsh about your parental skills over the years.
A bit harsh?
Over the last
year?
You've
done nothing but slag me off
and
for years.
I thought I'd put it right.
Really?
It was a gesture of comradeship.
Well, you'd have to give me a bottle of champagne every day for the rest of my life to make up for some of the things
it was a friendly gesture of, unity and that sort of thing. And
absolute cobleros.
And now you're trying to turn it against me by making out that I had some ulterior motive. That's quite disgusting.
Well, it's not my suggestion, it's one of the listeners. John says this, Roy says the victories will come when? In the pointless World Cup 2018 qualifiers in September.
Exactly.
We want you to win now, Roy, he says. Well,
exactly.
That's true. I mean, he talks a lot about hope, doesn't he? He talks a lot about the hope that somehow the goals will come so against somebody. He hopes that the win will come. He keeps saying that, he hopes that the results will get better. I mean, is this all the guy's got is hope?
Well, you sometimes wonder. I've been looking... You don't worry about the time. I've been looking at a compilation of marks out of 10 that the players got tonight. There's like a dozen or 14 of them. Various people with marks out of 10. The 2 players with the lowest marks are Smalling, and that's probably because of that silly chest back that he tried with Joe Hart, and Wilshere.
Wilshere was awful. I don't even know why he's there.
You
might as well come home now.
Strangest thing is, they brought Wilshere, and then didn't play him in the first 2 games, except for substitution, and then make him play in the third game. It's all very odd indeed. Very odd thinking, in my view.
Very strange. We've got more to say, and also coming up a little bit later on in this hour, we will be talking to a former England international as well. This is Talk Sport.
And by the way, I've got some fantastic information about what the Mafia are up to at the moment.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. Is that where you got the champagne?
No, but they're setting fire to cats and things.